The college football experience week 0 draft and coaching hires episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presented by WynnBET. Bet $10 at WynnBET and get $200 in free bets. Bet big, win bigger with WynnBET. Download the WynnBET app now or visit wynnbet.com. That's WYNNBet.com and start winning today. We're also brought to you by Coors Light. Get mountain cold refreshment delivered straight to your door via Drizzly or Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/SGP. That's CoorsLight.com/SGP. We're also brought to you by PropSwap, America's marketplace to buy and sell sports bets. Use the promo code SGP on your first deposit to receive up to $500 in bonus cash. Head over to PropSwap.com or download the PropSwap app today. We're also brought to you by Stable Duel. Stable Duel is a horse racing DFS app where you can play free and paid games for real cash prizes. You can win as much as $40,000 with one entry. Head over to StableDuel.com to get started today. And last but not least, we're brought to you by us. Yes, the SGPN app. Make sure you download the app. You're home for all of our free picks and podcasts. You can grab it for free in the App Store or Google Play Store. So do that and let it ride. Yes. Woo! Welcome to the college football experience. I mean, YouTube? We're on YouTube. Holy shit.
Made it big time.
We made it big time. My name is Kobe Swinging Database Dan, a.k.a. Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
Nobody knows nothing. Somebody knows. Double the price. But no one touches Dundee.
It is football season. We got the USFL going on this weekend. We're talking college football. This is our first episode truly diving into it. And I am joined by my co-host, former JMU Duke defensive back. Give it up for the burrito eating, sideline kiss stealing, wheeling and dealing, Patty C in the place to be.
Hi-oh! Give me all the vibes, baby.
Yes, sir. We are the Gamblers. Welcome to the Sports Gambling Podcast. This is the college football experience, but we got third man in the booth. Give it up for the DFS god himself, the rooftop IPA drinking, homebrew making, tobacco road living, the free lock giving, former Herndon Basketball League MVP. Give it up for NC Nick in the place to be.
What's going on, guys? College football talk. That's what I'm talking about.
Boom. Boom. We are finally here. As you remember, first off, if you're a first-time listener to the college football experience, we talk college football year-round. So subscribe, tell a friend. But we not only do we do a solo podcast on all 131 teams this year, not 130. The James Madison Dukes, they're 131, and we will be previewing them. You better believe it, but we'll go through every single team. We'll go through every single week. This is the start of it. We will draft the week 0 games, and we'll go like we do it for every week of the season. But at the same time, we're also going to grade the coaches that were hired this offseason. We got some new faces in new places, Patty C. And, we'll go through all of that. We're also going to hit on the transfer portal. And WynnBET just released their SEC West totals. So we're going to go through the SEC West. I mean, it's early. It's April. So we're going to give our leans what we like as far as over-unders in the SEC West. And that will be this episode. So I guess we start off. I think we should start off with what? Coaching grades, and then we'll go into SEC West win totals, and then we will go into our draft of our week 0 matchups. So let's get into this, guys. I mean, do I dare do I can't believe we're talking college football. Let me get a Lou Holtz going.
Well, I don't get the brain man cold, but they're counting down 7-6-5.
Shout out to Lou Holtz getting it done. So let's hop into the coaching hires here, because obviously there's some big names. This was a wild offseason, because we had 29 coaching changes.
It's almost funny. A quarter. That's almost a quarter of all college football teams. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. When I look at coming into the season, we're like, man, it's just going to be stagnant. There's not going to be any turnover. Everyone's a new hire, and then boom, every single season it seems like a quarter or thereabouts is complete turnover.
Yeah. I mean, and some of these ones, we'll see. I'm curious. We got to grade all these. We're gonna make a guess if they're gonna be there in 5 years. Which, I mean, with the way that college football, in general, whether it's a transfer portal or the coaching carousel, I don't know how many wills, but let's hop into this. I'm going to start off we'll start off with Power 5, hop into Group of 5. So let's start off in the Pac-12. All right. I think I wanted to start here because I feel like this was the one that really stole the headlines. Lincoln Riley at USC. Obviously, I think the whole world, I mean, you've seen it with them in the transfer portal, getting Caleb Williams, getting the other Williams, the wide receiver, the 5-star from Oklahoma, getting Jerry Rice's son from Colorado. Just they've been dominating the transfer portal. They've already started to kill it on the recruiting trail. Lincoln Riley, guys, do you think that it's fair to say that he was the top coach hired this offseason? Petty C, what do you think?
Absolutely. Is there any question about that? I mean, in terms of his upside and what he's already done. I mean, right now, from a percentage standpoint, they have 3 5-stars. Their only 3 recruits are 5-stars.
Yeah, pretty amazing. They did lose a 5-star the other day to Oregon, an offensive lineman. But Nick, what'd you make of the Lincoln Riley hire? I mean, we're all gonna have to grade this one. So I mean, I feel like this is TMZ Colby here. I think we all got to give it an A, right?
Well, I'll tell you that I did grade every hire, and he is my only A in the nation. I don't like to. Colby gives an A to half the hires. Colby,
that's not true. I love to talk shit.
I'm a little bit more strict on my A's. I don't just throw them out all willy nilly like Colby does. All right.
Well, you're crazy.
He is my only A. Give credit for USC for going out and getting their guy. He's only 38. He could be there for a long time. He could, there could be a shift of power out west, at least a little bit, because right now college football is dominated by a very small portion of the country. So potential shift of power geographically. I mean, look what he did at Oklahoma: 55-10 in 5 years, 37-7 in conference. Yeah, he didn't have much, success in the college football playoffs. At least he got there a couple times. Slam dunk hire. He's going to do great out there. It makes the Pac-12 football more interesting. That's for sure.
And Lincoln Riley obviously comes from the school of Mike Leach, was a walk-on at Texas Tech, didn't make the cut. Leach, said you should get into coaching, was a GA there at Texas Tech, came up through those ranks. Then he went to East Carolina, where I really think he learned how to be a winner. All right. So let me just cue Steve Logan.
Because when you're at East Carolina, you go for it every time. Or you don't coach at East Carolina, you don't come to East Carolina, you don't play at East Carolina with a weak heart. Write it.
Well, USC wrote the checks because they know he doesn't have a weak heart. Oklahoma fans are still crying about this. I saw people complaining online. Why would he go to Los Angeles? Look, I love Oklahoma. All right, I've been to Oklahoma. I've stayed in. I spent a good amount of time in Oklahoma City. I've stayed in Tulsa. I've stayed in a few in Shawnee, Oklahoma. I'm sorry. I saw that Instagram post of his bedrooms, his house. Yeah. 16 bedrooms, was it? 16 bedrooms, a swimming pool.
Palm trees and everything. I mean, it looks a lot nicer than Oklahoma.
Trust me and my wife will go grab dinner sometimes, and we're in the Palisades, and I say, what does it take to get a house here? All right. So I'm waiting for that offer.
More winning picks, Colby. That's what it takes.
Exactly. It's an A hire. Will he be there in 5 years, Patty C?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, he's got to perform, and I'm going to push back just a little bit, because his predecessor, Bob Stoops at Oklahoma, I would have to do the math real quickly here, but I would imagine a pretty similar win percentage. Now, obviously, Bob Stoops, great coach. But do we think that he's going to get more talent at USC than he is Oklahoma?
Yes.
And yeah, probably a little bit.
I think so.
I mean,
yes.
But not by much. I mean, Oklahoma has been like a top 5-10 recruiter for, his entire Stoops' entire time there, Riley's entire time there. So I believe I would need to go back and double check.
But it will be interesting when Oklahoma joins the SEC.
Yeah.
Then I think, 5-10 years down the road.
Are they going to be Arkansas?
Yeah. I mean, Arkansas was really good in the SWAC. What happened?
Yeah.
We've seen it in a few cases, but look at Nebraska now in the Big Ten. We'll see. I give it an A. Patty C, what are you giving it?
I'll give it an A. I mean, I think you have to, especially bringing Williams with them. I mean, right off the bat, you expect them to win. Watch them start out like 4-4.
But also, especially in a year where there wasn't like, a bunch of like obvious candidates. There wasn't like, Urban Meyer coming back or something, So for them to go out and pluck the coach of their choice from another powerhouse, I mean, that's key. That doesn't happen every day.
They needed it.
Yeah, and I mean, USC's got the most first round. I mean, not the most first round, the most players drafted in NFL history. Did you know that?
I did not.
They're also the only program that will not be playing in FCS because UCLA and Notre Dame were the other two. They both scheduled FCSs.
Really?
So USC, look, as much as I dislike them, you gotta respect them.
Got some clout.
Gotta respect them.
I wonder if that's going to change in the coming years because I think Oklahoma had Western Carolina on their schedule a year or two ago.
That's true. That is very true. We shall see. Okay,
1-11 FCS Western Carolina.
Yeah,
that geographical. I mean, it just made sense geographically, right?
They took a page. They're going to fit in fine in the SEC. Dan Lanning is hired at Oregon. He was the defensive coordinator for Georgia. The question is, do we think that's a great hire? I mean, Mel Tucker's working out last year at Michigan State. He was previously a DC of Georgia. Now, obviously, Kirby Smart is a defensive coach. He's their head coach. So, I mean, you think this hire will work out in Eugene. Nick, what do you make of Dan Lanning?
Well, to be determined. There's a lot of question marks. He's never been a head coach before. That's the biggest one. Sure, Georgia's had a very good defense the last 4 or 5 years. They've pumped out a lot of defensive players to the pros. I mean, if you look at mock drafts this year, Georgia's got a ton of defensive guys going to the league. But, so I'll go ahead and say my grade, which is a B. And under, B, because I have a B with a lot of guys here. But one of the categories is like, hot assistants that have never been head coaches before. And Dan Lanning falls under this category, along with other people that we'll mention coming up here, like Marcus Freeman or Brett Venables or Brent Pry or Tony Elliott, et cetera, et cetera. But there's a lot of unknowns. You always take a gamble when you have a guy who's never been head coach before, and he's coming from the SEC, going to the Pacific Northwest. Those are polar opposites, basically. So
he does have experience at Arizona State, though.
Okay, some Pac-12 experience.
He does have some Pac-12 experience. Look, my thing is this. I'm not a big Mario Cristobal guy. We'll get to that in a little bit. So, in my opinion, did they upgrade? I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes, they upgraded. Now, I know that's a gamble because there's no track record.
Hater.
Right?
Hater alert.
There's no track record. But I think at Oregon, you're going to bring in talent regardless of the coach. And so I'm going to say it's a B as well. I know we're agreeing too much to start this episode. I'm going to give it a B. Look, he played linebacker at William Jewell College. All right.
Where is William Jewell College?
That is in Missouri.
Okay.
Dude, this guy has been either a graduate assistant or a recruiting coordinator for half his career.
Hey, he just landed a 5-star offensive lineman. He's doing exactly what Mario Cristobal did.
That's true. Fair enough.
Now can he coach?
Yeah.
I mean, number 1 defense in the country 2 of the last 3 years, number 17 in between in 2020. But before that, Georgia was number 15. This is Georgia we're talking about. They do defense. They run the ball. They play defense. They have talent. So is this good?
Sorry to cut you off, but how much of that is doing?
I'm sorry. I just played the Friends song. I'm sorry. Continue.
That was loud. It scared me.
I
didn't mean to cut Patty off, but I was like, how much was that his doing at Georgia, or how much is that just being in the right position at the right time?
Yeah. I mean, Kirby Smart has, tried to emulate Nick Saban, it seems like, to this point. Is his coordinator situation and coaching tree going to emulate Nick Saban's and result in a lot of disappointment? We shall see.
Probably.
Now, I think, Patty C, what would you grade this one?
I'm going to give it a C.
Wow.
I just need to see more. I need to see more. I've seen this too many times.
Well, okay, then.
And you're Oregon. You're one of the most highly funded.
They tried to get Chip Kelly. They tried to get what's his name at Cal. I'm drawing a blank on the coach's name right now at Cal.
Your boy
DeBauer, was it?
No.
Who was
God, I'm drawing a blank. This is a bad look. He's from Boise State. He was with Washington and Boise State and Peterson.
Wilcox?
Yeah, Justin Wilcox.
Yeah.
Hey, it's April. Okay, college basketball just ended. We're all starting to get warmed up with college football again. Don't be too hard on yourself there.
I almost said Todd Philcox. No, Justin Wilcox. He turned down. That was shocking to me that he turned down because he had Oregon ties, and that was shocking. But I'm gonna give it a B. I think it's much like when we did the college basketball and subscribed to the college basketball experience with Kevin Willard or whatever. Do I think the program got better? I do. I think it got better.
Colby's hatred of Mario Cristobal.
It's not hatred. It's just the guy can't. You just give passes away like they're just
Well, they did get better under his tutelage.
They got they got better under Willie Taggart.
Did they?
Yeah, because Helfrich had him down at 4 wins or something.
It's true.
So, easy to see a tide turn when you're Oregon. You know what I mean? I'm gonna give it a B. All right. I think will he be there in 5 years is the question. No.
He might be. He might
leave if he's really good.
Back to the SEC.
I mean, more money is more money, right?
It's true.
Nick,
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no just because, there's been so much coaching turnover at Oregon lately. Who's the last guy that's been there for 5 years? Was Chip Kelly there 5 years?
I think he was.
Probably.
Pretty sure he was.
Close to that, right?
Pretty sure he was.
Let me ask you this. Yeah. What are the expectations of Dan Lanning? After 5 years, what will he need to have done the previous 2 or 3 years? What will he might
have to have beat Lincoln Riley.
Yeah. Pac-12 championships.
To leave. I'm saying to get paid. If not, I'm going to say yes, he's going to be there because I think I think the Pac-12 is about to in the middle of a renaissance with Chip Kelly getting UCLA up, with Utah staying the way they are. Now
that's the reason why. Maybe that's the reason why he won't be there in 5 years if he can't. If he can't keep pace.
We shall see.
All right. Well, next up we got there's another hire out there that we're forgetting about in the Pac-12 guys. Jake Dickert, interim head coach, if this counts, interim head coach at Washington State. Actually, there's 2 more hires in the Pac-12, but Jake Dickert was interim coach after the Nick Rolovich situation. Obviously, Nick Rolovich, friend of the program. We love some Coach Rolovich, but Dickert, I thought, did a great job. He came over from Wyoming via North Dakota State. I was shocked when they went down to Tempe and whooped Arizona State, and I thought he did a great job considering.
He did.
Yeah, considering the locker room. You had players that were with Rolovich. I don't know. It was just chaos in Pullman. What do you make of Jake Dickert at Wazoo, Nick?
Well, you're right. They won 3 out of the last 4 regular season games. And, if you want to, please your bosses and the fan base at Wazoo, you know what you do? You smack Washington in the Apple Cup. And that's exactly what they did in Seattle, 40-13 to close out the year. Now, obviously, the Huskies were going through a lot of issues themselves and, the pending coaching change and whatnot. But pretty good, end of the year, other than losing to Central Michigan in the bowl game, But I don't know, man. We still have to see how he can, run the program himself for consecutive seasons and be the CEO guy. So I think there's some question marks here. I gave it a C+.
I like it because, first off, I thought he did a great job at Wyoming. Helped turning around that program. He was at South Dakota State and North Dakota State. He's been a part of successful programs. And then they lose Jaden DeLaura when he goes out and gets, Cameron Ward, who's a stud quarterback in the FCS with Incarnate Word last year. brought in their OC, which I like the hires. So to me, I'm going to give it a B. I think it's a B because we've seen a little sample size. If anything, would you take him over Lanning?
I think that's tough to say you would do that just because, I mean, both are more or less coordinators up to this point in their career, and Lanning seems to have proven more. How much of that is Georgia? That's tough to say. I don't think they're very different hires, in my opinion. Obviously, Lanning's at a much bigger place, so you kind of trust that more, especially when he's going to a Power 5 program. But, I mean, what's more similar to Washington State, Georgia or, like, North Dakota State?
I almost think you have to be a better coach at Washington State. Or at Wyoming than Georgia.
Yeah,
you know what
I mean? Do more with less.
Yeah, exactly.
Are they going to run the air raid?
I think they're going to run. I think it's going to be like some sort of. Yeah, I think it's spread. But I don't know necessarily that it's full on air raid. But I think wrinkles of the run and shoot and the spread.
Okay.
So yeah. Okay. Now we saw this today in college basketball, by the way, a transfer from Washington State go to Washington. I mean, that made me want to vomit. But
that's not okay.
But will Jake Dickert be there in 5 years? I'm sorry. I'll get to my point there with someone leaving for Washington. We have we still have to cover the Washington Huskies and Caleb DeBauer. But I forgot that in 5 years, will Jake Dickert be the head coach of Washington State?
He might be, just because they have a little more patience. But I don't like the way he came, I mean, to his credit, he rallied a team that was,
all over the place.
Place and having a hard time from administration on down. He righted the ship. So that's a good sign. And I think that's the type of school that if they like you, they'll keep you. They don't have humongous expectations there. So, yeah, I think he will be.
Nick?
Yeah, I'll say yes on this one too. Like I said, beat Washington at least as much as they beat you. And I think that program's pretty happy. Go to some bowl games, and you don't have to, compete for the Pac-12 title. You don't have to potentially make the playoffs. I think that's a good position where if he's happy there and if the team's pretty good, he can be there for a decent amount of time. I think he will be there.
Here's the gamble, though. Here's the gamble. If he does good, if let's say he has a 9-win season, another team's going to come calling with more money. Like if he has a 9-win season and Missouri fires Drinkowitz, Missouri, will easily outbid Washington State.
I don't know where Augusta is. He spent Augustana. Other than that, like he's spent all of his time either in Wisconsin.
He went to college in Wisconsin, Stevens
or the
Point.
Dakotas or Wyoming. He's like, what we would dream of Big Ten / Mountain West country to be.
If Fleck leaves, I could see a ton of scenarios.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm going to say no.
I think he's going to do well enough.
I think he's going to do even if he goes 8-4 a couple of years.
Yeah,
I think he'll be a hot coaching candidate. So I'm going to say no.
I mean, there are enough desperate teams looking for coaches that if he's doing it all well, you're right, he'll probably get snatched up.
Okay, next up we got Kalen DeBauer, Washington, coming over from Fresno State. And what's interesting is he was previously the OC at Indiana when they had their best years, I feel like. And Michael Penix, the quarterback of Indiana, now transferring into Washington year one. We know the Husky defense was legit. They have 2 corners projected in the first round. Jimmy Lake had that defense. It was recruiting at a decent level. The problem was last year the offense was dog shit. No, that's DeBauer's specialty. Can he make them good instantly is the question. And what do you make of the hire, Nick?
I like it. I'm a DeBauer fan. I mean, he crushed it as head coach of Sioux Falls at the NAIA level, before jumping to D1 to be OC at a few different schools. But it was only head coach for 2 years at Fresno. There was the 3-3 COVID year and 9-3 this past season where they did beat UCLA and played Oregon well. So, he played a couple Pac-12 schools at least. But, I think Washington needs a shot of excitement, an injection of some fun or, some offense. And I think that's what they give him. I think it's a roll of the dice considering he's only been head coach at the D1 level for a couple years. But I think it's worth the gamble because I think he's going to bring a fun brand of football. Offensive players are going to want to go there. When's the last time we saw a Washington wide receiver, make it to the NFL or something?
John Ross, and he was a bust.
Yeah, for the
Yeah.
Bengals, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. So yeah, I think it's a good hire. I think it's exciting brand of football that Washington will be playing with DeBauer. So expect some points.
79-9 as a head football coach.
That's not bad.
79-9.
Solid.
I mean, you can't. And look, he coached with Chris Creighton at Eastern Michigan and Jeff Tedford at Fresno State before going with Tom Allen at Indiana when Indiana had their most success. When he was at Indiana, they averaged 444 yards per game.
Yeah.
That was second in the Big Ten.
That's the thing about it. If you've watched Fresno, you know they passed the eye test.
Yeah.
You know, that offense looks explosive. It's not a fluke. I do wonder if you want at Washington, a team that was in the college football playoff invitational, what have you, just a few years back, if you don't want a guy with a little more experience. But I think he's proven enough, and sometimes you got to take a chance on a dude that's just, up and coming.
So what's the grade here, Pat?
I give it a B.
B. NC Nick, you're really tough on this, so you're giving it a D+?
B+, man. I'm a DeBauer guy. I'm a believer. So I believe in DeBauer. Give me a B+ here. I think it's a good hire.
I do too. I'm actually going to give it a B+ too because I think it's better than Lanning. I think it's better than Dickert. I think it's the best hire outside of Lincoln Riley in the Pac-12. Do you agree to that?
I do.
I agree.
Look at us. We're agreeing way too much on this episode. Those are the Pac-12 brand new coaches. Now, there's a chance Herm Edwards Arizona State might have a new coach by the time the season kicks. We'll see. But and we'll have you covered if that does happen here on the College Football Experience. Let's hop on over to the Southeastern Conference, where I'm glad to have you as part of my family. Shout out to Brian Kelly, just doing legendary shit. Just developing a Southern accent on the fly, doing these videos where he loses the recruit, but he's got a gun into his head. And he's like, "Yeah, motherfucker, I got that recruit."
That video was so awkward.
He's standing 1 inch behind him.
I got to be honest, I love it. I love
do
it.
too.
I love it. I think it's fucking great for college football. Brian Kelly to LSU. Now, this is the one I think everyone's kind of all over the place. I see people out there covering, analysts out there saying, "Oh, it was a great hire." Some saying, "Oh, it's a cultural disaster." Brian Kelly. Look, the previous 3 coaches at LSU: Nick Saban, Les Miles, and Eddie O. We Tigers. All won natties.
No pressure.
No pressure. No pressure. Will, what'd you make of the Brian Kelly hire, Pat?
Well, I think the national consensus, the analysis that people have provided, pretty spot on. Although I'm more in line with hey, this is a job that if you're any good, you can't screw up. And Brian Kelly's proven to be very good for a very long time, and he'll get the recruits he couldn't get at Notre Dame. And he's already doing. I mean, he's only got a couple, but they're really good recruits so far. So as long as he can continue getting good recruits, which he should be able to, he's going to coach them up, and they're going to win big.
You think that he'll win a national championship at LSU?
I think he'll be the number 2. LSU will be the number 2 program in the SEC, or aside from Georgia, SEC West under his guidance.
Let me ask you this: where would you put him in the ranks among SEC West head coaches, though? Because A&M's recruiting at an unbelievable level. You got Mike Leach, who took them from 4 wins to 7 wins, and normally year 3 and 4, big years for Leach wherever he goes. And you have Lane Kiffin, who's doing a pretty damn good job at Ole Miss right now. And then you have Sam Pulled Pork Pittman, who's doing a great job.
That's true. I don't know. That's tough to say. I mean, I put him on par with a lot of those coaches.
Because he's never won a natty, and Notre Dame's experience in the playoffs and in the national championship has been pretty fucking embarrassing.
At least he's got there. Any of those other guys ever been to the college football playoffs?
Well,
I know it's not.
I am positive if Mike Leach was at Notre Dame when Leach went 11-2 at Wazoo, they would have been in the playoffs if that happened.
I also know that if Brian Kelly was at Florida State while Jimbo Fisher was there, they would have been in the fucking national championship every year. So.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could take that everywhere then. I mean, but to be fair then, Jimbo Fisher's won a national championship. So then Brian Kelly hasn't, unless you're counting Grand Valley State or something in the D3 or D2.
I mean, you can't deny he's a damn good coach.
Wherever he's gone, he's won.
Yeah.
I do think he probably needs that extra edge talent-wise. I mean, Notre Dame was considerably behind the SEC in talent the years that he went to the playoffs and got smacked, even behind Clemson.
They didn't belong in the playoffs some of those times.
Yeah, for the most part.
But
if the talent's there, I think he can coach it well enough that every few years he has a chance to win a national championship there.
Are you at all worried that he never really develops good quarterback play? Like he's good enough to win games, but LSU. He doesn't put players in the NFL.
LSU, aside from Joe Burrow, doesn't do that either. So I think he'll fit right in. They still win national championships.
Matt Flynn cashed in. Was it Matt Flynn or Matt Flynn cashed in? Yeah.
Marcus Russell cashed in.
Yeah, he got cashed in on that purple drink.
Who was the other guy that played for the Titans for a little bit? Among other,
Mettenberger.
Mettenberger. Zach Mettenberger.
Yeah.
So what do you give the grade, Patty C?
I'm gonna give it a high B plus. I think I'm gonna give it a B plus.
I think you got to go B plus.
Yeah,
but the question is you got rid of a coach that won a national championship to get him.
You got rid of a freaking idiot.
Don't you dare say that about the legendary Coach
I love him, but he is definitely like the Farmer Fran or whatever the guy is from The Water Boy.
Now, Nick, what are you doing here? What's the grade you're giving Brian Kelly at LSU? Jeez.
Yeah, I agree with Patty C. B plus. Once again, in a year where there wasn't that many top choices or top candidates, I think it was a good hire. And the cultural fit. I mean, you know what's good for culture is winning. And that's what Brian Kelly's done wherever he's gone. So I'm not too concerned about cultural fit. I think with another notch up or two in talent, let's see what he can do. Obviously, it's a tougher road now in the
I was
SEC
just
West.
about to say, can I play devil's advocate for a second? He was at Central Michigan and won. The MAC had nobody, right? He was at Cincinnati when they weren't playing great competition. Notre Dame's schedules have been kind of soft. They never play back-to-back away games. Getting these coaches game in, game out that we just mentioned,
that's going to be the challenge. He's not going to see game planning.
But also, you have a down year at LSU, and you might get fired. It's
true.
It's like what's his name at Florida this past year. I mean, they just won 2 years ago. They won the SEC East.
Yeah,
Mullen gets fired in one bad year. So I think this is this is one where if we're talking 5 years from now, this is one that could be all over the place. But what was your grade, Nick?
It was a B plus, and I do think he probably is now the second best coach in the SEC West. 5 years. I mean, he's not leaving that job to go elsewhere. So I'll say he's going to be there for 5 years.
He's not a better coach than Mike Leach.
I agree with that too. I don't know that I think he'll be the second most winning coach given LSU's talent, but I think below Nick Saban, it's almost a wash like across the board. Like, I mean, obviously he's better than Kiffin, but Leach, I would say, is probably at least as good, if not better. Fisher's on the same level.
Pittman's doing a great job. Everyone's giving
but I think you got to give Kelly the nod over him so far.
But dude, Arkansas was a dumpster fire. Pulled pork Pittman's doing wonders. I want some of that barbecue sauce. I'm gonna give it a B plus too. Okay, let's hop on over and talk. We have the Florida Gators. Gator. Billy Napier. This is one that's very interesting to me because everyone seems to love it, and I sit there and I go, I guess. I'm sitting there like, okay, the Sun Belt West was not the Sun Belt East. Now, he was recruiting much better for the Raging Cajuns. I mean, that was their best years in the history of football for them. However, you're going up against ULM, Troy, some of those years without Neil Brown, South Alabama, who has been a stinker, Texas State's been a stinker, Arkansas State's been all right. That's
a terrible division.
I'm saying that division, it's not the Sun Belt's gotten way better, but it's really been the Sun Belt East. I get it. This guy's he's coached with Dabo. He's coached with Saban. He's coached with good old Todd Graham. And
at the top of his resume.
Yes. And as a head coach, I mean, he's 40-12. That's fantastic. He never had a losing season at Louisiana. He had 7-7 in year one, 11-3, 10-1, 12-1. But I still think
that's cranking out wins right there.
You think he's better than Dan Mullen, though? I mean, Dan Mullen just won the SEC East 2 years ago. Now, I know he's a better recruiter, but I just don't know.
Is he a better recruiter? I mean, I don't know about that.
Well, from a numbers standpoint, they say that's his forte is like that was Mullen's weakness at Florida. Was he was losing some recruits, which it wasn't even that bad though. You were like number 12 in the fucking nation.
Dan Mullen almost beat Alabama last year. People are freaking idiots. That's such an SEC thing to do.
So I'm very interested to see. So wait, what do you make of the hire then, Patty C?
I mean, the guy's he's won. It's hard to argue with that level of competition. Notwithstanding, the guy has won when he's coached as a head coach. Relatively short head coaching tenure so far, only 4 years as a head coach at, like we said, Sun Belt level competition. So, Sun Belt West.
Sun Belt West. Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm going to give it a B. I think it's a decent hire. I think if you're Florida, you could probably swing for the fences and pay out the yin yang and get what's his name from Oklahoma.
Venables?
Lincoln Riley type hire. Okay. You know, you can go back and get Urban Meyer. I'm sure that wasn't very popular among the Florida people, the North Florida people.
That wasn't 2022. Right. The way he was groping that girl's ass at the bar.
I feel like that's right on brand for Gainesville.
Oh man, I don't know. I mean, Urban Meyer.
The only thing on my mind, Gene, was pussy.
New drop. I like
it. Nick, what are you giving this grade?
Well, I mean, it comes down to philosophy. Like, would you rather go with, an assistant from a Power 5 school that's never been head coach, or do you want to go with the smaller level guy who's been head coach? Typically I like to do the latter, and I like to have a proven record of being head coach. But in this case, I have question marks here. Great job at Louisiana Lafayette, sure. But this is the SEC now. It's a whole nother animal. So I'm going to say C+, because, the pressure at Florida, especially with Georgia now being on top of the mountain, Florida does not want to see that. So he can't get off to a slow start, or he might have a very short tenure.
And it seems like, Kentucky's gotten a lot better. It seems like Tennessee maybe found their guy.
Might be, yeah.
Spencer Rattler's now at South Carolina.
Also, don't they play LSU every year?
Yes.
In with the Sharks.
Yes.
I'm going to say C+.
This ain't the Sun Belt West here, buddy.
Nope. Which is the worst side of the Sun Belt, by the way.
That's right.
Yeah.
I am wearing a App State shirt here. There it is.
There you go. There you go.
Sun Belt East. Here we go.
JMU representing. I'm going to give it a C.
Ooh.
You guys have convinced me. I'm dropping this down to a C+.
There we go. I just think the other teams, like you said, they're playing LSU every year on the other side of stuff. I think when you talk, look at their last couple coaches. What didn't they do the same thing? A Saban disciple just 2 hires ago with McElwain?
Yeah.
Who I actually think is a decent football coach. Things didn't work out. I know this guy's probably a better recruiter than McElwain, but I don't know. I'm not sold yet. I need to see more. And I thought the fact that Louisiana was in the Sun Belt East, the Sun Belt West, I thought they benefited from that. We'll see. I'm going to say C. Maybe you could talk me into a C+. We're fucking agreeing too much, though.
Let me ask you this. Outside of what would Florida have to do to do better than a Nick Saban disciple? What would convince Florida to go outside of a Nick Saban disciple? Obviously,
they just did with Mullen, right?
Yeah, a high-end coordinator or a high-end head coach at another place. That's I guess offensively gifted. Aside from that,
Steve Spurrier Jr. is on the staff at Mississippi State.
Well, look, put this into perspective, okay? Florida's basically on the same level as USC and LSU. And USC and LSU got big name headline, great track record of head coaches. And Florida's taking a gamble on a guy from Louisiana.
Yeah. You can't give it that high of a grade based on that.
Yeah. Will he be there in 5 years, Nick?
I'll say no.
Patty?
I'll say
it's a grinder, man.
If he can recruit, he'll be there in 5 years.
I'm on no. I don't think he'll be there in 5 years. And by the way, did we all answer the Kelly in 5 years? Brian Kelly in 5 years?
Brian Kelly no, he'll be gone.
I think he'll be gone too.
Yeah.
Nick?
I said yes, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk before we hop into the Big 12. Let's talk a little independent action. Brian Kelly left for LSU, which means Notre Dame went out and got their defensive coordinator, promoted him Marcus Freeman is now the new head coach at Notre Dame. I thought, considering what happened to them, I understand it. It seemed like there was a buzz in the locker room about them wanting Freeman. He was able to keep the staff for the most part. I think he's a good coach, and I think he was about to be a head coach elsewhere, so they took a flyer on him.
Yeah.
But I guess you still wonder, this guy has no experience, but sometimes that works out. Nick, what do you think of Marcus Freeman in Notre Dame?
Yeah, I mean, he was definitely deserving of a head coaching gig. I think you put him in the same boat as Dan Lanning, and a couple of other of these guys that I mentioned previously. So I give him a B. I think he could do big things at Notre Dame, but yet again, we haven't seen him as a head coach before, so TBD. But I think recruiting might get an uptick. The players seem to love playing for him. So it'll be interesting to see who he hires as the OC. I'm not sure if he's probably already made the hire.
He kept Reese.
Yeah, he kept
okay.
Tommy Reese.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He kept most of the staff in Tech. I think the special teams coach Brian Polian went to LSU.
I think Kelly was trying to pull Reese down to LSU.
Yeah.
Interesting. So I'd say good hire, but without a proven track record, I think the B is the highest I can give him. I
would be inclined to agree with you, but he has impressed me so much in the interviews that I've heard him. He's just, I don't know, he's convincing. And that could be fool's gold sometime. I know that I was huge on who's the Boston College coach that went to Colorado
Steve Adazio.
Adazio convinced me that he's
Patty C was sold on Adazio, maybe the worst coach of all time. Right?
Dude, just like any job, some people are really good at the interview and less good at the job. Yeah. I'm not saying that's the case with Freeman. I'm just saying that, don't buy that cutlass just yet, all right?
That's what happened to me when I worked at Chipotle. I nailed that fucking interview, and then they're like, "You need to roll burritos faster." I'm gonna give it a B. I think it's a B. I think what could have they done? Like, okay, what would have been the home run hire at that point?
I think they made the home run hire. I think this is it because he's
got them recruiting at a higher level.
Elite recruiting. I mean, the guy is hip. He's cool. He's cock diesel, right? He's a good looking guy. And he's got the black thing, I don't know. Let's call it ace and ace. I think it helps to be a black head coach at this point. If you are able to maintain the professionalism, I think not that that's a question. I don't want this to come out wrong. I just think that is often a concern, right? Is how much experience a lot of the black head coaching hires haven't gotten the opportunity to gain a ton of head coaching experience, but he nails he sounds like he's been a head coach for 20 years already. Yeah. Plus he's got the hip factor, and I think that the recruiting will not be a problem. It's clearly not. He's the number one. He's got the number one class right now, something Notre Dame hasn't sniffed in a long time. Yeah. And I just think there was an opportunity. It was a little bit of a risk, but I think the payoff is the upside so huge that I think that was the home run hire.
It's easy to see a tide turn.
I agree. 5 years from now, will Marcus Freeman be the head coach of Notre Dame? Nick?
I'll say yeah. Sure, why not? There's only so many jobs that are better than that job. And in order to land one of those, I think he probably needs to be there for about 5 years or so, crazy, say Saban retires or something and he's been crushing it at Notre Dame. He could be a candidate for a job like that, or Dabo moves on or something like that,
Ryan Day goes to the NFL. He played at Ohio State, something like that.
Or like Mike Elko retires at Duke or something. Maybe he goes to the Blue Devils.
Yes, we're going to talk a little Mike Elko in a bit here.
Segue?
No, we're not good. Look, until Notre Dame joins the ACC fully, I'm not going to fucking just give them that. You know what I mean? Those bastards. Let's hop in. Actually, I'll do this. I'll talk about a couple other independents going on.
Well, right now, this is going to be a 2-hour-long podcast just on coaches, which I'm fine with, but just FYI.
Well, as we go down the list, the quality goes down. I'm sure we'll get
the quality
a little quicker.
goes up if you're talking about the independents. I think the independents are very intriguing this year, and that's going to be a theme of this offseason. For a bunch of them, maybe all of them, because New Mexico State hired Jerry Kill. Jerry Kill. This is a guy. Talk about I'm sorry. This is a home run hire, guys. This is an A. If you're New Mexico State, you just landed a guy who's a winner everywhere he's been. You want to talk about Brian Kelly? Well, look at what Jerry Kill's done everywhere he's gone. Everywhere he's gone, guys. You can go one by one. 38-14 at Saginaw Valley State. Emporia State, 500, just 2 years. But then he got a job at Southern Illinois. Southern Illinois, 55-32. He goes to Northern Illinois, 3 years, 3 bowl games, 23-16. He goes to Minnesota. He was the one that actually put Minnesota was awful before him. He's the one that got them up. And then Fleck walked into a good – well, actually, they went to his DC, then it went to Fleck. But the guy's a winner. He's a winner. I think this is a home run hire. I'm giving this one an A for New Mexico State. The only reason why you could talk me into a B+ is the guy's health concerns. How long can he be committed here? He's had health scares at every single stop.
The seizures?
Yeah.
Epilepsy?
I mean, but he's only 60 years old.
He looks like he was 60 for the last 15 years.
I was kind of surprised to see that he was only 60. I thought he was at least like 65. But yeah, to Colby's point, I mean, they're getting a really good football guy. And for New Mexico State, I think it's a win for them, obviously, even with, health and potential age concerns. And I think it's pretty similar to the other independent hire of Don Brown. And I give it a B. I'm not quite as high as Colby on an A. I see where he's coming from, but this is a category of like old guys at really shitty schools.
You know who his DC is going to be next year?
Who's that?
Gary Patterson. He was Gary Patterson's best man in his wedding.
Well, that's a great hire. I'll tell you that.
Watch.
Part of what a coach does.
Watch. Next
year.
But
he's not going to be there for long.
I think it's a great hire. I really do. Patty C, what do you make of Jerry Kill?
Wait, he got Gary Patterson?
No. I'm saying I could see him getting Gary Patterson next year. Gary Patterson's just in
Texas, right?
But he's not a DC. He's just an analyst for the University of Texas. Apparently, he's working from remote.
Gotcha.
Oh, I thought you said they got him.
No. I'm saying, who he's going to get next year is Gary Patterson. I could.
You
see
think
that,
so?
He was the best man in his wedding.
I think Gary Patterson could get a head coaching gig.
That's true.
Not DC at New Mexico State.
Hey, don't shit on my dreams. All right, Patty C, what do you give this one grade wise?
I think you have. I don't know. Here's my one drawback. I know Tracy Clay's was his boy and got passed over, I guess, for PJ Fleck. He criticized Fleck, said he was a me guy, which I actually think that might be a little bit of the case.
Do you know who he plays week 1? Oh, I'm sorry. He has week 0, but in college football,
tell me he
week 1,
plays Minnesota.
Oh, man. I can't wait.
Oh, man. I love it.
Because he's talked shit about PJ Fleck.
Yeah.
I sign me up.
That's going to be a little underrated sleeper fun little war there. Whatever. I'll give it a B. You got a guy with that kind of track record at that kind of school.
I'm going to take my A and bring it down to a B+ because of the health. Because I don't know that he's going to be there in a year. Yeah, let alone 5 years. So the question is will he be there in 5 years?
Just falling out on the sideline whenever there's some stress.
will he be there in 5 years? I'm going to say no because of his health.
Let's take a look at where he's
been. You hate to be the deciding factor, but if you're trying to answer the question truthfully, you have to, take that under consideration. So I'll say no as well.
5 years is a long time in college football.
And coaches are junkies, man.
Yeah.
You're working like 20 hours a day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true.
He has been a head coach since 2015, so he's 7 years removed.
He was interim. He was interim coach at TCU. Yeah,
sure, for a couple games, but
another independent that went out and hired somebody. UConn hired friend of the program. Has been on the show. Shout out to Jim Mora Jr., the recent hiring. The newest hire by the UConn Huskies, and instantly he brought in a 4-star transferred backup quarterback from Penn State came with him. Look, I know I'm sitting over here throwing out B's and A's, but
this is the easiest answer in almost all of it.
What are you giving this one?
This is an A. This guy was the coach of the Atlanta Falcons.
It took him to the NFC Championship.
Yeah, this guy's the head coach at UConn now.
Did they go to the NFC Championship that year? I don't think so. I mean,
no, he did. We talked about it on the show.
Did they?
First year.
Yeah.
I know they went 11-5.
Yeah, he was a winning coach in his or 31-33 overall, but his 3 years in Atlanta, 26-22. It's respectable. It's an NFL.
2 double-digit win seasons at UCLA as well.
He probably would have only, and had he got more time that 2017, I think he would have ended up with a winning record or at least 500. So that would have put him at, one losing season only. How do you not love this hire?
You have to. Plus, you recruited well.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is, Nick only gave 1 A. He didn't give Jim Mora to UConn an A. They completely, what do they say? Overgrew their.
I'll punch their. Punched above their weight class.
Whatever. I was about to come up with some bullshit. Nick, what are you giving this one? I'm so curious.
It's like Colby, marrying his wife. He married up, she married down.
Right. It's called even a blind dog finds a bone some days.
It's easy to see a tide turn.
Yeah, B+. I mean, look, I understand if you want to give it an A as far as UConn hiring someone of that caliber, sure. But my question is how's he going to do there? I mean, is that program, is it salvageable right now? How long will it take? Will he stay the course? A couple question marks there, I guess. I give it a B+. Great hire, though.
I'm on an A. Patty C, you're on an A, right?
I'm on an A, yeah.
Will he be there in 5 years, Pat? I think, yeah.
Oh, that's tough. I don't know. I mean, you're UConn. What do you say? I think he's
going to give him a long leash. I expect him to
there.
suck the first 2 or 3 years. And then
the question is, I think if he does a good job, does he go elsewhere?
Yes. Because
right.
Yeah, that's a good.
But how long will it take to steer that ship around?
I'll tell you this: if he ends up, there's talk of them potentially joining the Conference USA and just football only.
Yeah, what are they independent right now?
Yeah, and what independent? Your schedule's brutal. I mean, you're out of conference schedule. I mean, your whole schedule's out of conference. But I think it's harder to be independent. Now, if you jump in the CUSA, I think he can win. He can be like 8-4 every year.
I'm going to take note when you said that because I feel like you give Notre Dame crap about their independent.
Well, I'm talking about the Conference USA.
Okay. You think it's harder to be independent than in the Conference USA?
They have Notre Dame doesn't play 3 weeks in a row on the road.
That's true. UConn has Michigan,
New Mexico
NC State, Fresno, or
New Mexico State, UMass. I mean, shit. Half the SEC schedules UConn and UMass and New Mexico State.
That's true.
I'm giving it an A. 5 years, I'm going to say yeah. I'm going to take a shot there. I don't feel that confident on that one. But, okay, now we get to Don Brown at UMass. Don Brown, who previously was the coach at UMass. That's why, Nick, I don't know how this one is an A to you because if there's one guy that's won at UMass, it's Don Brown, all right?
He's 66.
Well, in 5 years, maybe he's not there, but maybe he is. I mean, look.
The hire makes a ton of sense. I mean, yeah, go back, 15 or 16 years, and he had UMass going 13-2, 10-3. I think at the time they were in FCS or that might have been called 1AA back then. I don't know.
43-19 as the head coach of UMass. And he's from that area. He was at Northeastern before. Those cowards got rid of their football program. Those scumbag fucks.
Let me tell you why you can't give this an A.
Why?
Because Steve Belichick was out there available to be hired.
Well, Northeastern can start their football program up and hire him again. But, dude, this guy had players come to the NFL from UMass all the time. Whether it was Victor Cruz, Vladimir Dukas, Hegbo, the safety for the Patriots and the Jets. This guy was putting players in the NFL. That's incredible at UConn. So I'm going to go ahead. Yeah, I'm sorry, UMass.
Well, let me push back on you a little bit here because he got fired from Michigan for, I guess his defense no longer having that it factor. And then homeboy comes in at Michigan and revives him in year one, puts him in the playoffs, right? Then he goes to Arizona and he shits the bed there.
Shits the bed. It was year one. They had everyone
a good defensive coordinator. That's true.
Is this like hiring David Cutcliffe where the game has kind of passed him by? I don't know.
What do you mean? David Cutcliffe did a great job at Duke.
Yeah, but not the last couple of years. When he was hired originally, the game had not passed him by yet.
So you're giving what's your grade? What's your grade then, buddy?
B.
I'll go B as well. B plus. B plus.
I like him. I think
if
he's
you're
a good
UMass,
coach.
who could you get?
That's true.
Right.
Yeah, that's
right.
better than that.
True.
That should be a fucking A. I'm changing it. A. Donnie Brown. All right, folks. I want to tell you that the college football experience is brought to you by WinBet. Make sure to get down on WinBet's. You bet $10, you win $200 promotion. I mean, how great is that? Where a $10 bet qualifies you for up to $200 in free bets. Plus, the WinBet Casino is offering 100% deposit bonus up to $1,000. Yes, and of course, don't forget to get involved in their same game parlays with WinZone. Build your own bet feature. That is fantastic. You build your own bets. There's so much to choose from, and all you have to do is download the WinBet app or visit winbet.com. That's WINNBet.com to get started today. Offer subject to change, terms and conditions at winbet.com. Must be 21 or older and present in the state where playing through WinBet is available. If you or someone has a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. All right. Wow. I mean, we're just going through these things. Big 12. Brent Venables is now the head coach at Oklahoma, guys. Patty C., you're a Venables guy.
Interesting for Oklahoma to go defense for the first time in forever.
Stoops
defense.
Well, yeah. I guess the hallmark under Stoops was
Mike Leach.
Yeah, Mike Leach in that offense. Yeah. So, and they weren't really stopping many people. I mean, maybe I'm
early
wrong,
on they were.
Yeah,
when they had Terrence Marshall and Rocky Kalmus and stuff like that.
They had a lot of studs early.
Rocky Boyman.
Yeah. Somewhere I heard yesterday that it was about 2008 that they really became high speed. At Oklahoma with Sam Bradford and them. So. I don't know. I guess it's just going to be a different look. I don't know if they're going to continue spreading the ball around like they have under Venables. I guess that's kind of what they did. Has he named an offensive coordinator yet?
Jeff Lebby. Coming in, and Dylan Gabriel transferred in.
It's a good hire.
Yeah.
I think, based on that, I have to give that. I'm going to give it a B just because I don't know. I mean, how can you that's me being a defensive coach hater.
And I think you got to also fit in the fact that they're going to the SEC in 2 years.
I can't put that on.
Well, I'm saying, will he be there in 5 years? If you start going 7-5 every year.
That's true. The expectation, he might be the dude that's like in the unfortunate position of having to deal with the higher expectations versus the reality of the situation that the Oklahoma fans haven't adjusted to yet. So we'll see. Do I think he'll be there in 5 years? I don't know. They tend to be pretty loyal to their coaches at Oklahoma. I do think he'll be there in 5 years.
How'd that work out for Howard Schnellenberger? No, they weren't.
Yeah,
loyal.
they were loyal to their coaches because they were winning a bunch of games.
That's true.
Yeah.
Let's just say for me, he's on my list of the potential guys to be fired first. And really, no disrespect to him. I just think it could be a tough situation. And really, my cop out for him is I'm gonna give him a B, the same I did with Marcus Freeman or Dan Lanning, because they're in the same boat. Hot coordinators, never been head coach before, going to major programs.
Major conference. Go major programs, and then also potentially the major conference from the Big 12. But hey, they didn't even finish in the top 2 in the Big 12 last year. I mean, what's your expectation? Do you think if he goes and they don't make a Big 12 championship over the next 2 years, he's out?
If they don't make it to it,
yeah,
I'd probably give him at least 3 years.
Yeah, depends on how close they are.
Yeah,
not too many people get the trigger, after just 2 years.
I'm going to give it a B. Okay, next up we have Sonny Dykes, TCU, and I'll lead off on this one. I think this is a terrible hire. I really do. I think you had Gary Patterson before, and you went to Sonny Dykes. I think your football program got worse. Now I think Sonny Dykes is a okay coach, decent coach. Obviously, he's got Leach ties as well, and he was Cal's coach with the Golden Bears. But at Cal, he kind of was. I don't know. He didn't set the world on fire. Now at SMU, he did all right, but still kind of walked into a decent situation. June Jones had June Jones and then Chad Morris, and then so the SMU had kind of had some stability there. At Cal, he went 19-30. I think this is a D and maybe even an F.
I think you're being a little harsh.
Yeah. Wow. I think with the Big 12, I think where would you rank him in the coaches in the Big 12? I think he's one of the last. if not the last.
I think this is a Colby hateration situation.
I like Sonny Dykes, but I thought Texas Tech dodged a bullet by not getting, obviously Spike Dykes, his dad coached at Texas Tech.
He's a
well,
Texas
speaking
Tech
of Texas
alum.
Tech, though, I think he's probably a better hire.
I disagree. I completely disagree.
What do you know about Joey McGuire other than, wasn't he was a Baylor assistant head coach, never been head coach before?
But he
Had a
held it
movie
together.
named after him.
Yeah, he was he held the glue together, I think, from going from what's his name with the Carolina Panthers, Matt Rule, to Dave Aranda, and I think that's why the program was able to maintain success. And I also think before that he was a successful high school coach, so I think he's going to do great on the recruiting trail.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess one's bleeding into the other here. I mean, I kind of agreed the Sonny Dykes hire was not a splash hire. It certainly isn't a home run, but I think he's solid. I gave it a C+. But going back to something you mentioned a while ago, did TCU get better? And I think the obvious answer is no. I think it's gonna be hard to live up to what Patterson did during his, first half of his tenure at TCU.
And Dykes' defenses have been terrible. I guess at SMU they had a couple decent ones, but back to the La Tech and Cal, they weren't good.
Well, let me push back on you a little bit about did they get better?
Push back a lot. Screw a little bit. Push back a lot. Shove his ass.
Look, Gary Patterson had one 10-win season in his last 6 years at TCU. Aside from that, 7 was the most he managed.
You act like TCU's a blue blood. Only one 10-win season.
Well, I know for a fact that they were.
As long as they're winning, that's good.
I do agree. Last
Rose
3 or
Bowl
4 years, that program has
that.
not been as good.
Yeah, they've been mediocre. Gary Patterson.
What were those records?
Starting in 2016, 6-7. Then they had that good 11-3 season, finished in the top 10. But then after that, 7-6, 5-7, 6-4,
okay, but
3-5.
At Cal,
Sonny Dykes is better than that.
No, the only time he's been at a Power 5, he's had one winning season.
Sonny Dykes?
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you that's kind of the same thing for Gary Patterson. As soon as he moved into the Big 12, he had a couple good years and then they fell off. So
you're crazy. I will take Gary Patterson coaching anything. It could be fucking bag boys at the grocery store, and I'll take it over Sonny Dykes. You're crazy. You're crazy.
I'm not sold on Sonny Dykes. I'm just saying.
What are you grading this?
I'm going to give it a C+.
Wow. I can't wait.
As did I.
I can't wait to talk shit here. That's a D. That is
I can't see Patty's seat anymore. All I'm looking at is your mug here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There we
director.
go.
Poor Nick.
It's tough to direct.
Give
all
this guy some eye candy over
time,
here.
all right?
Come on.
Next up, we got Texas Tech, Joey McGuire. Let's talk a little Joey McGuire. NC Nick doesn't like Joey McGuire.
I'm just saying those question marks. All right. The movie was average.
What did he do to you?
Zellenberger, whatever his name was not that hot.
No, that's Zach Mettenberger and Renee Zellweger. Yes. They played similar. I guarantee you, if you put him,
they
put
look
her,
similar.
Yeah.
Both very average.
They did look similar. Look, McGuire, I think is a great hire. I think he's 141-42 in high school. This is like Art Briles all over again without the allegations.
Slightly different.
Yeah, and look, at Baylor, he did a great job. I think maintaining the reason why that program, and apparently he was highly sought after. People were saying he was going to become a coach. So Texas Tech jumped in, got him at the right time. Now, obviously, he doesn't have coaching experience as a college football coach. So I can't grade it too high, but I'm going to give this one a B-. I think it's a good hire. Patty C?
I'm curious how often that I know that plays huge in Texas, the high school football coach coming up. I wonder how often that results in success. Obviously, it's a big factor recruiting wise. We're going to see once Texas opens the floodgates to the SEC, how many players they're keeping around, especially at a place like Texas Tech. Although I guess they're staying
wasn't
in the
beating Texas for recruits anyway. I mean, there's enough talent.
They were just beating them on the field.
There you go.
Hey, I don't know. I don't know enough about the guy. I'm going to give it a C.
Let's go.
Only a C, huh? So wait, you just gave Sonny Dykes a C+. Okay.
Sonny Dykes.
I smell a wager. I smell a wager.
Hey,
I smell a wager coming on.
Wager
Bottle of bourbon?
Bottle of bourbon. Let's do this.
Sonny Dykes, who in the same exact city, right, went 10-3, 7-3, 8-4 in his last
AAC West by the time,
and beating TCU in the process.
Okay, BTC
so you can say
times.
based on that,
there we go.
It's an upgrade.
We'll see. We'll see over the next 5 years. We'll see. Sonny Dykes. You can't win. All right, let's. Nick, what did you give that grade? You said it. What was that?
C+. I'm with you, Colby. You went C+, right?
I did.
Right. Look, you know
B
me,
minus. Actually, I'll go B minus.
Okay, I went C+. You know me, I'm Big 12 hater. So I don't know. I'm not as familiar with the Baylor assistant coaching staff as you are, but Baylor has had good programs for a long time. Apparently, he's a big part of that. I guess it makes sense. But let's see what he does on his own. C+.
Look, I'm going to say this. Looking at the second line of his profile on Twitter, the biggest accomplishment this guy has is district championships.
That's
high
right,
school
baby.
district championship.
Small potatoes.
You can't tell me that's a great hire. I don't want to be reading about district champs.
What kind of championship Sonny Dykes won? Nothing. All right. He played baseball, he was a damn good baseball
Iron
player.
Skillet championship.
Yeah,
that's what he's won.
That's not a championship, buddy. Here we go.
In Dallas, it is.
Mike Elko. He is
Fort Worth.
He was part.
There we go. Now we're talking about some winners.
The Duke Blue Devils. Did they hit a home run, Patty C, when they brought in Mike Elko?
I do. I think they did really well.
He's familiar with the area. He coached at Wake Forest with Dave Clawson. He was their DC for a while. Nick, you're the Duke fan.
I love the hire. Dude, I love Cutcliffe, but it was time for him to go. He probably made it 2 more years further than he should have just because what he did to turn that program around, because they were at the bottoms, the depths. But this hire makes a lot of sense. Now, once again, we have a guy who's never been head coach before. So, you got to factor that in to your grade here. But at his 4 years as DC at Wake, his defenses every year were ranked between 38th and 46th in the country at Wake Forest.
Dude, he had Bowling Green with Clawson when he was at Bowling Green. He had them as a top 10 defense. They were number 6 in the nation. 2 years they were top 10. 2 years at Bowling Green.
And let me tell you this, as soon as he left Wake, the next year they were 77th. Year after that, they were 102nd.
Oof.
And last year Wake was 91st. So obviously, that was a lot of his doing there. And Wake Forest is a lot like Duke. They're small as far as they're private schools. They don't pack the house at all. They're recruiting. It's a challenge. So do more with less. And the thing that's really been struggling under Duke and Cutcliffe was the defense. The defense was just never there. So I like the hire a lot. I'm actually excited to watch Duke this year.
Me too. I
give it a B.
I think it's a B plus.
I'm with you. I'll go B plus too.
I think it's a B plus.
There you go. I mean, what's Duke's expectation? Who are they really going to?
I think fans are going to be more excited about him than John Shire.
Don't know about that.
Oh, maybe.
Can he recruit like John Shire?
Yeah, that'll be the day.
Probably not.
We'll see. Patty C, what are you giving it?
I'll give it a B plus too, because I've just been impressed. Again, eye test. He has passed it. Notre Dame, Texas A&M, Wake Forest, obviously, is probably the place where you pass it the most. That's the most similar school to Duke.
Bowling Green having 2 top 10 defenses at Bowling Green.
I mean, I guess if you're Duke, you can pray for like a Cutcliffe during his first few years there. He did great. Or a Steve Spurrier you might get that once in a blue moon. Yeah. But pretty much Mike Elko is as good as you're going to get. So I think B plus.
All right, Virginia Tech hired Brent Pry. He has ties back to the era of Frank Beamer. He was a grad assistant there at GA. So he's coached with Bud Foster, coached with Frank Beamer. Obviously, the Franklin family has raved about this guy. He coached for James Franklin, I believe his dad in high school at East Stroudsburg, or I forget the affiliation there, but he's definitely been around the block with the Franklin family. What do you think, Brent Pry, Nick?
Well, it's pretty interesting that both UVA and Virginia Tech have new head coaches in the same year, and they're both assistants. Brent Pry coming from Penn State, Tony Elliott, coming from Clemson. One's offense, one's defense. It's going to be interesting to see, which one of those has the better, career, at these schools here. So I think I like the Pry hire, but once again, he falls into this category, and I'm going to give it a B just because we don't know enough. I hate that it's almost like a cop out, but all these guys, all these assistants that have never been head coach, I'm going to give Pry a B. But it seems like a good fit, and as long as he can recruit, that Southern Virginia Tidewater area, man, I think he could do big things there. I think he is. I don't know. It just seems to me like his persona, his demeanor, his defensive-oriented mindset fits perfectly with the Hokies. So I'm interested to see what he does there. B, you might be able to talk me to B+, but right now, let me just stay with the B, okay?
Yeah, I'm gonna go B as well. I think it's the same as Lanning. I think it's a good hire, but I don't know because of the track record. We haven't really seen him as a head coach.
Good defenses though.
Well, let Patty, see what he thinks first. But I'm interested, and maybe you guys can answer this also once you're done discussing him. Like, who do you think is the better hire, Pry or Elliott?
Pry. I think Pry.
I think it's about even. I think it's about even. I think
it's Pry.
Well, yeah, we'll definitely get into that a little bit once we start talking about Elliott too. But I'm going to say this. The guy is saying the right things about, getting the recruiting in-state. Back when UVA was good in the 90s, they were getting in-state guys, the Barbers. What's his name from Roanoke, who almost got hired as the head coach there, Anthony Poindexter.
Okay.
They were able to lock down some in-state talent. They went away from that. They sucked, For a little while when they were recruiting it pretty well, I guess it was like, who's the guy that played linebacker for the 49ers?
I mean, they had James Ferrier at some point. Ferrier, they had a slew of great linebackers.
When they go in state, they do well, but they've been away from that for a long time. Virginia Tech, for the longest time, was pulling all the top in-state talent. Tyrod Taylor, Lee Suggs, all those guys all over the place from Richmond, Northern Virginia, Roanoke, all over the state, obviously Tidewater area. And so I think he has made the commitment to get back into the state. That's been really his main talking point. That sounds pretty good. He does fit the identity of defensive first. It's actually not that different than Fuente's, identity. So, but he's just more in state. So I think it's going to work out pretty well. B though, because I don't know what the upside is with him.
That's fair.
Well, now let's hop into the Wahoos. Patty C's Wahoos hired Tony Elliott. Sounds like a NASCAR driver.
I think it is.
Yeah, is that one?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think an old one, right? Back from like the 90s or something.
I don't even know. Yeah.
We're gonna need NASCAR gambling on the Sports Gambling Podcast. Network
shout out, subscribe.
Way in there.
Yeah, subscribe if you're a NASCAR fan. Subscribe to the NASCAR Gambling Podcast. They're doing great work over there. So Tony Elliott coming in from Clemson. Clemson finally loses their offense and defensive coordinators for the first time. I mean, I know Jeff Scott was a assistant offensive coordinator with Elliott. This hire is weird to me. It's weird. That he would take it. You saw Venables go to Oklahoma. Well, Virginia's not. I mean, you have tough academics.
You have no history.
Yeah, besides what?
But once again, that Clemson offense did not look very good last year. So maybe Elliott's stock went down a hair.
That's true. Maybe he's like, let me cash this chip in because before I had Trevor Lawrence and Deshaun Watson back to back. That kind of helps things.
And Travis Etienne and a slew of receivers that are now in the NFL.
It's true.
Look, he walks into a decent scenario. Brendan Armstrong's back.
My guy.
He's a stud. I think it's a C, though. It's a C to me because I think anyone coaching. Look at Jeff Scott at South Florida. He hasn't lit the world on fire. I'm giving it a C. I'm tough on Patty C's boys.
I think it's kind of unfair to give him a C but Pry a B. I mean, do we really know?
Well, no. I think why I like Pry more is Pry's done it at more stops. Elliott was just at Clemson.
Yeah, and he played at Clemson, so it's pretty big comfort zone for him.
And Pry was at Virginia Tech. It started his career, so he's home.
Yeah, he knows that culture. Anytime you can say you were part of what Beamer and Bud were doing, you have the hearts of Virginia Tech, which I really feel was like Fuente's problem.
Yeah,
and being the guy that followed the guy.
100%. Bud Foster,
always
friend of the program. Go listen to our episode with Bud Foster. Great guy.
Yeah, always an outsider. You're right.
What do you, Patty C talk here about Tony Elliott?
Well, he's done a good job right away.
Is he going to win the Daytona?
He's got a good chance in the
with Brandon Armstrong,
Wilmington 400.
He's got a great chance if he's in the ACC Coastal 500. All right, because everyone's got a fucking chance.
Everyone's
right?
500.
Yeah, everyone's 500 there. Talk though. You think it's going to work out there? You're a UVA fan.
All right, culturally, I think it is a great fit. Engineering degree, all that stuff plays. For the people in Charlottesville, what he's done that has impressed me as a recruiter already is he's gone heavy after the front's offensive line in particular, which is something that's been a huge problem for them. Obviously, when they played Notre Dame last year or 2 years ago, whatever it was, just watching that game, they would just get basically crunched every play. So
watch any game last year. That offensive line was awful.
Yeah, and the defense was awful. It was all
Brendan Armstrong was still putting up 1,000 fantasy points every week.
Yeah, so I mean, he's coached some good offenses. Again, we don't know whether that's going to translate without all that talent and playing.
Well, he's also got to watch Dabo Swinney, run a successful program.
Yeah, I think it's a good hire. I think it's a good fit for UVA.
Are you concerned that Jeff Scott's had struggles at South Florida? That was Clemson's OC that was with Elliott. They had two OCs.
I'm a little concerned that there's not like a humongous track record there. I mean, a guy like Bronco Mendenhall had a much longer track record. He's probably a better coach than Tony Elliott. But that said, his defenses sucked. So yeah. I don't know. I think it's a B. Maybe a C+.
I'm on a C here. Nick, what are you doing?
Yeah, give me a C+. I mean, you did make some good arguments as to why the Pry hire might be slightly better than the Elliott. So, and I think it is better. So give me Pry as a B and Tony Elliott as a C+.
Well, let me push back for 1 second again. He did get Arch Manning on campus this past week. So
he ain't coming to UVA.
Yeah, if he goes to UVA.
Yeah.
That NIL deal's got to be sweet or something, right? I saw Louisiana pass that bill. Did you guys see that?
Oh, man.
For the high school kids to get paid by the NIL.
Damn.
State of Louisiana. You can make money right now if you're a ninth grader that can throw a fucking football.
Yeah.
You can get money.
You're getting paid.
Wow. Get all the gobstoppers you want. All right. All right, folks. I want to tell you that the college football experience is brought to you by the NBA Playoffs Bracket Challenge. Yes, just in time for the NBA Playoffs. SGPN, yes, that's us, is giving away $500 in their bracket challenge. It's completely free to enter. Just go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/NBA playoffs or hit the contest link in the SGPN app for your chance to win $500 cold hard cash. We're also brought to you by another thing that's cold, Coors Light. Yes, it's a hectic time of year between weddings, graduations, spring sports, and more. And we're busier than ever right now, Patty C. I feel like as a society. And sometimes we forget to take a second for ourselves. So this season, take a second to enjoy an ice-cold Coors Light because you deserve a beer that's made to chill and made to cheers as I cheers you.
There you go.
Do you ever feel like you're always on? Because, I mean, honestly, sometimes I have to have this moment where, I feel like I'm always on. Work, friends, family, a million pressing social issues, and really an expectation to be on 24/7. Sometimes you need to take a moment to turn it off and hit reset. That's when you reach for Coors Light. It's made to chill, people. I honestly, I actually think, especially just getting done with March Madness, that I like to take a moment to just relax, get myself a Coors Light, throw up, Crocodile Dundee.
That's what we're doing right now. You gotta have the king on Croc.
Yes.
For me, guys, beach season is coming up, and a big cooler full of ice cold Rocky Mountain deliciousness.
Outer Banks. Go. Oh man, that sounds wonderful.
Reach for the beer that's made to chill. All right. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Drizzly or Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/SGP. That's CoorsLight.com/SGP. And remember to always celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. I mean, this is what's not to like about Coors Light? I love the
no-brainer.
Yeah.
We are taking a break right now. We just got through college football and college basketball back-to-back. We're recalibrating. It's time to get loaded tonight.
Getting loaded on Coors Light and college football. Which brings me to Mario Cristobal at Miami, the last Power 5 coach hire. Not chronologically, but that we have on our
Colby's favorite.
Mario Cristobal to Miami. So they hired Manny Diaz again?
Kind of.
So let me get this straight. They fired Manny Diaz. And they hired Manny Diaz.
And in a couple years, they're going to hire Dan Manning. Dan Lanning.
Look, yeah, whatever. You know, I mean,
he's not one of the Manning brothers.
Yeah. Okay, so let me get this straight. Manny Diaz was 21-15 at Miami. Year 1, he goes 6-7. Year 2, 8-3. Last year, fired 7-5. Do you expect Mario Cristobal to do better than that?
Mario Cristobal's career record, 62-60. And in the city of Miami, where he was at FIU for what, 6 years, 27-47. That was a long time ago, though.
But still, look, I get it. He's from Miami, but so is Manny Diaz.
It's true. I would say he's got a little more clout at this point. I think his recruiting is obviously regarded at a way higher level.
Okay, that's the real sell for you telling me this is a good hire. They'll have better players at Miami. Okay. But you know they've never won an ACC championship since joining the ACC.
Yeah, it's been a pathetic 20 years.
And I'm of the opinion that it ain't happening. Yes, you're in the Coastal. Could you get there? Sure. Everyone's going to take their turn getting there in the fucking Coastal.
Here's why I might disagree. I'm a Tyler Van Dyke believer. That guy is a hell of a quarterback. And the coach comes into a pretty nice position with him as your quarterback. And they also have, some pretty good running backs and receivers and whatnot.
He's got 1 year because I saw Kuiper saying he's going to be a first rounder next year.
He's a man. I think I was ahead of the curve on this. I was telling you guys that, mid-season last year and, towards the end of the year, everybody was, jumping on board. But Tyler Van Dyke's a baller. So
sophomore slump, though. No Rhett Lashley. He's now at SMU.
Good point.
Josh Gaddis comes in. Is Josh Gaddis a bit overrated?
Let me throw some salt in your point there, Nick. I think he's the second best quarterback on that roster. Jake Garcia is going to come out slinging. Hey, buddy, this guy was a 5-star from Southern California. We see how they've been doing in the Southeast. So I think that's something we might have to look out for.
Mel Kiper just called Tyler Van Dyke a first rounder. Now, I don't know if, maybe the Van Dyke family's giving him some money to say that, but I would be
He's
surprised.
A good quarterback.
Yeah.
He's a good quarterback. I would be surprised if he got unseated, for sure.
So Cristobal might be catching lightning in a bottle here. Almost, I don't want to draw comparisons to like Burrow and Coach O, but Coach O kind of rode on the Joe Burrow Brady coattails and got a lot of credit. Look, he did a good job there, but obviously he's not that great of a head coach. Potentially same thing here in a very soft ACC Coastal. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, they could easily get to the ACC championship.
Yeah,
and even with Clemson coming down, maybe it's the time.
Yeah,
maybe it's the time to grab the ACC by the antlers.
Look, 12-2 and 10-3 in 2 of his last 3 seasons there. Obviously, the one in between 4 and 3. But went to the Big 12 Pac-12 championship game.
Yeah, but finishing second, they went to the Pac-12 championship. Ridiculous.
Yeah, agreed. But three straight Pac-12 championship appearances.
But you can lose to Utah. They were way more talented than Utah. They got their ass whooped twice by Utah last year. You don't think that has something to do with actually coaching?
Well, I think Utah gave Ohio State a hell of a game too.
But my point is that recruiting, Oregon destroys Utah on the recruiting trail.
Tell me this though. Who's the best quarterback?
And Oregon beat Ohio State last year.
Who's the best quarterback Cristobal's had at Oregon?
Herbert.
He was pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Scratch that. All right, the last 2 years.
No, but that's my reason why. That's my reason why he's a bad coach.
And they finished number 5 in the country when they had.
No, they were not
that
good. That was only based on their fucking name that Chip Kelly built
and winning.
That year they should have beat Auburn too. They would have had even one more win.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. To me,
that was poor coaching.
He's always had poor coaching to me.
Colby judges Mario Cristobal's entire career based on that game.
No, the Stanford game. Stanford game, he could have ran out the clock. All he had to do is take a knee. He calls a running play. They fumble, right? And Stanford takes it back to the house. Game goes to overtime. Stanford beats him in overtime.
That's bad luck.
That's bad coaching. Just take the knee.
But that doesn't make you a terrible coach because of that.
Each year, he played Mike Leach. And I felt like, this Oregon team with Herbert and all those studs.
Comparison between
no, but I'm saying is
coaching levels.
He got out coached in a really bad way. in a really bad way. This is not something that I just formed an opinion saying, you know what, I don't like this guy.
Yeah.
Every time I've watched, I said he's not getting the maximum of his team.
He's a recruiter.
With Herbert, once he went to the Chargers, I was like, oh my God, how did they not win the national championship every year?
That's true. And I'll give you credit for admitting Herbert was good when
they
he got
masked his skills.
All right, so take it back to the ACC Coastal. Like, who's the best coach in the Coastal? First off, there's 4 new coaches out of 6, right?
Doran is a decent recruiter.
He's in the
Atlantic. I'm sorry, Coastal. I would say, Narduzzi and Cristobal battles are going to be hilarious. Sign me up for those matchups. Mac Brown's won a national championship.
He might be the best.
You got to put that, right?
I guess. I mean, yeah. I mean, you do compared to four brand new head coaches and Narduzzi. By default, Mac Brown wins that.
Oh man, I give it a C. I think I'll give it a C+ because of the athlete he can bring in, but I don't think they're going to be winning. I don't think this is going to put them over the top.
It'll be interesting to see their win total this year because I mean we've been cashing Miami unders for I don't know how many years now. But hey, I love the quarterback, so that can go, pretty far.
Let me tell you why you guys are wrong. Miami has never hired a coach that has accomplished as much as Mario Cristobal has at this point in his career. I want to say even Jimmy Johnson was just a coordinator prior to coming to Miami. This guy's been to 3 straight Power 5 conference championships.
Let's bring that up too. USC was incredibly down during that stretch.
That's true.
So the team and Al Golden had some success at Temple.
But Al Golden,
get out of here.
Yeah,
no comparison.
Nowhere near as accomplished. So
what do you mean? They're the same style of coach.
And then Mario Cristobal, an ace recruiter. Mario Cristobal, a Miami guy. You see him.
I'd say Mark
Richt. Diaz was
I'd say Mark Richt had some success.
Yeah. What are you talking about? What about Mark Richt?
Yeah, that's true. Okay. Scratch that. Everyone up to Mark Richt.
Not as bad as my Herbert overlook.
Will he be there in 5 years? Will Cristobal be there in 5 years?
I think so.
I think so too. I think he's gonna get 6. But I think look forward to 8 and 4 years. He's basically gonna be like, dude, just well enough that they'll like him because of the talent level. But he's never going to take them over the top.
Well, he's got enough clout there that he can shut down the turnover chain, which he's already done, and say, we're playing old school.
I like that. I like that.
Football, we're hard-nosed. We're going to run the ball. We're Miami.
Nick's been waiting for that for years.
Right. Dude. Not only was that annoying itself, but it created a chain reaction where every school had some dumb thing.
I kind of like the Oregon State chainsaw.
Turnover chainsaw? That's nice.
That one wins me over. All right. Well, will he be there in 5 years, Nick? Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
Okay.
I think the Coastal's soft enough where he can have some success.
All right. Well, look, we got to jam through some of these mid majors here.
Let's go.
All right. Stan Drayton.
30 seconds of pop here.
Stan Drayton, Temple. Your grade.
That's what everybody's tuning in for. Let's go in depth
football.
here.
Hey, we talked Al Golden. All right, talk Matt Rule. We can talk a little Temple Al football. Who is Stan Drayton?
D-.
Who is Stan Drayton?
Exactly.
That sounds like a movie.
Compare Temple to, I guess like UConn and UMass, who had good hires. Stan Drayton never been head coach before. He's been a running back coach at Texas.
Been at a hell of a lot of big time programs.
I give it a D.
Florida, Syracuse, Mississippi State, Green Bay, Chicago.
What did Drayton do to you? All right, I'm gonna give him a C. I don't know anything about this guy.
Just compared to the other regional schools about the same level. Actually, Temple should be a notch above UMass or UConn, and they hired better coaches.
Okay, fair enough.
A career running back coach, iffy. We'll see. I'll give it a C.
C. I think you gotta have it as a C right now.
Yeah.
Rhett Lashley, SMU. He was just at SMU as the OC 2 years ago.
I like
Off the top of my head, I'm giving that a high B+.
I think it's a B+ too because I actually think he's young, so I actually think he's probably going to do better. I think their program got better with that hire. So
Miami's offense was pretty good with him.
Yeah,
and it seemed like he could have went to a bigger school maybe in a year or so. So I think SMU, strike while the iron's hot.
Agreed.
Ken Wilson to Nevada.
Good old
this
Ken
is an
Wilson.
in-house guy. First off, Mike Leach guy, friend of the Mike Leach, our boy. But Ken Wilson was at Wazoo at Leach.
Talk about in a house. He was at Nevada
with Chris Alt
starting in 1989.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. If anyone knows this program, which was a great program during those years, man. Back to the days of Alex Van Dyke and Mike Maxwell.
But this screams like, assistant getting a job just because he's been there for a long time.
Well, you know why that is? Is because they went to Chris Alt on who to hire.
Right. And
you know what? This is the guy that deserves it.
I don't think it's going to work out. He not only has he never been head coach before, he's never even called his own plays before. The furthest he got was assistant D coordinator, I believe. And Nevada was good the last couple of years because of their dynamic offense. So question marks with this hire. I'm going to give it a C.
I think you have to give it a C right now. We've never seen it, but he's familiar with them in winning winning days. So I think
he's
maybe
more
C+.
familiar with that program than any coach in America is with theirs.
And in college,
that doesn't mean he's going to be a good head coach.
I agree.
In college, he played tight end, linebacker, and he was a first baseman on the baseball team. This guy's an athlete.
Shit. Maybe I should give it a B.
I'm going to give it a D+.
Really?
Yeah.
Just because he played baseball.
Yeah. What happened there? I'm going to give it a C+. C+. Familiarity is the main reason there.
He was co-DC for 1 year.
Jay Norvell at Colorado State. Obviously, Chris Alt, by the way, kind of called out Jay Norvell for leaving to Colorado State.
Give me a break, old man.
Who called him out?
Chris Alt, the legendary Nevada coach, saying you leave for Colorado State.
It's a little bit of a lateral move to a somewhat of a
Colorado State got money. Colorado State's got money. What do you make of this hire, Patty C?
It's
Norvell?
not Reno.
Yeah.
I think it's a good hire. I mean, Norvell, what was his best year? 7-2 during the pandemic. Aside from that, you're getting a 8-5, 7-6 coach for the most part. I guess at Colorado State, that's what you want. The level of competition that he's been playing at is Mountain West, so you should expect that kind of output. That's a good hire. Not a great hire.
I think it's a great hire.
I think it's a great hire too. Matt Mummy, son of Hal Mummy, OC there. I think
he is the total opposite of Steve Adazio. Colorado State is about to get modern. It's about to get fun. It's about to get, offensive. 4 straight winning seasons at Nevada, 4 out of 5. The fact that they can pull a guy who you think is a lateral move, I think that speaks volumes itself. So I think he's going to do great things at Colorado State. Two of the West Coast hires are, pretty past the Mississippi hires that I'm looking forward to is DeBauer at Washington and Jay Norvell at Colorado State. Both offensive-minded guys. I think they're both great hires.
He's a Hayden Fry guy. So
which makes it surprising that his offense is a little bit cutting edge there.
Well, no, he actually played safety. But his offenses have been like, pretty fire. So I think it's a B+. What are you giving this one? You said a B?
Test. I'm going to give it I don't know. I feel like maybe on eye test alone, it should get a B+, but what should Colorado State expect? I feel like hiring a coach that his best season is 8-4. His best full season is 8-4. Maybe Colorado State should try and aim higher than that.
You see Nevada's schedule last year, though? It was brutal.
Yeah.
It might be a B+. It's B+, somewhere in there. I'll say B.
B+, and I don't think he's coaching here in 5 years. I think he's in the Pac-12. He might be at Arizona State.
Yeah. He's 59
He might be at Arizona
now.
State next year.
Yeah, he better move fast.
Is he there in 5 years, Nick?
No. Yeah, I agree. I think he's probably moving on to greener pastures.
All right, we got Michael Desamoreau. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing
Desormeaux.
Yeah. Love the name though with the EAUX at the end. He is the offensive coordinator from Louisiana. He's taking over.
He's a Cajun.
Yeah, he's taking over the head coaching position, so they're staying in house. He's
Did you
never
say
coached.
Did you say Mike Devereaux?
The old Baltimore Oriole. What do you mean? I'm going to give this a big in-house guy stepping up. Actually, it was C+. Nick?
C+ here as well. Yeah, he's only 36. He's young. He's unproven. He was co-offensive coordinator last year. I like the fact that he stayed in-house, but we don't know enough about this guy and how he's going to do as the head honcho. So C+.
Patty?
No, terrible hire. You just went from the guy who's like one of the best upcoming coaches in college football to a dude who's coaching tight ends last year as the co-offensive coordinator, tight end coach.
But when they hired what's his name? He was probably in the same boat, right?
No, because he had been with Saban, and and Dabo. Yeah.
This is being in love with your Louisiana-ness too much here. Okay.
F?
Appreciate.
F? Give us an F.
I'm throwing an F out.
There we go.
I think this is because Patty C really likes Louisiana Monroe, so he's hating on Lafayette.
His ULM colors, his Warhawk colors are showing
my
through.
boy Rich Rod is gone, but I do enjoy a Bowden over there. So,
will he be there in 5 years? No. Nick?
I'll say yeah. I'll say why not.
Okay.
If they could get rid of a Louisiana guy and Eddie Orgeron at LSU after winning a national championship, they can get rid of a Louisiana Des Moreau.
Jay Sormo.
They're not going 12-1 under this guy.
Yeah. Well, the Sun Belt got a lot better too. John Sumrall, grandson maybe of Pat Sumrall. I don't fucking know.
I think it's spelled differently.
He's the new head coach of Troy, but get this, he was at Troy before. First off, he was with was he with Jim Harbaugh at San Diego? He might have been. I'm not sure. I don't think so, actually, now that I think about it. I think he just missed that bus. But he was Kentucky's defensive coordinator lately. Kentucky obviously had a really good defense. He used to be at Troy with Neil Brown back from 2015 to 2017. Talk me into another. Give me a. He's familiar with their winning ways. I'm doing a C+.
So a weird thing he's done there. He's done like deep South and then the West Coast. Like it's a pretty random.
You know what though? I'm actually going to say B. I'm going to say B because Kentucky's defense has been good the past couple of years. If anything, it's the offense. It's been the downfall. I'm buying in. Give me a B.
I don't know anything about him.
Great.
Yeah, I'm man enough to say I don't know here.
Well, like you knew something of Mike Devereaux? The fuck? You're giving him an F and you can't say.
No, I gave Day Sormo a C+. I'm gonna give Summerall a C because at least with Day Sormo you have the continuity factor.
He was just at Troy. John Summerall was at Troy from 2015 to 2017.
Look, Kentucky's been a little better than Louisiana lately.
Yeah.
Maybe not that much better.
No, they haven't.
Yeah. Or at least
their
playing
respective levels.
Yeah, true. Playing a much higher level competition, though. I don't know shit about this guy. I'm gonna give it a C. Just based on that alone.
Then you got this one. It pains me to say this one. Georgia Southern's getting rid of the option. They hired Clay Helton, which it makes no sense to me. It makes no sense to me. They've had the some variation of the option since like 1970. F. This is F.
This is because you're just mad that they're not running the option anymore. Okay.
What, dude?
That's not fair.
What,
the fact that Georgia Southern got a guy who had 2 10+ win seasons at
USC? Dude, anyone can win 10
pretty good
games.
hire. How's that an F?
He did as well as Lane Kiffin did at USC, and Lane Kiffin's regarded as a top 20 coach right now.
Not in my eyes.
Okay.
Not in my eyes.
You're a hater. You just hate the fact that they're not running triple option, and that's why you're giving it such a bad grade. I give it a B. I think for Georgia Southern to go ahead and pluck Clay Helton out, I think it's a good hire.
And his brother's doing pretty well in the Southeast too. So, where is he at? Western Kentucky?
Yeah, Western Kentucky. They had a good year. No, this is 5 years from now. He will not be there because they are spoiled fans. They are spoiled fans. And all of a sudden, if they have a losing season, because this is a rich program,
they're going to find out how important that triple option was.
Yeah, you're going to find out. You better start thinking about yours, Georgia Southern. Honestly, I'm going to give it a D. I can't give it an F, but I give it a D.
I'm going to give it a B. I think to get a guy of that kind of experience and that clout at Georgia Southern.
You know why Nick is high on Clay Helton is because he was with Fred Goldsmith at Duke in '95 when they had their good year.
Damn it, you're on to me. Spence Fisher was a great quarterback.
He was, man. Him and Robert Baldwin. Sonny Cumbie is the new head coach at Louisiana Tech. This one, they fire Skip Holtz after a great run. And Sonny Cumbie comes in. Everyone knows he's got these high-powered offenses. Sonny Cumbie. What do you make of this hire there, NC Nick?
Yeah, I think we might be a little jaded here because we are big Skip Holtz guys. He went 2-3 as the interim head coach for Texas Tech last year. I don't know. I think it's a downgrade of where they were. So I'm just going to give it a C+.
I think it's a C+, maybe even I still think it'll be successful. I think they're going to go to bowl games every year. So I'm going to actually give it a B. Patty C?
Sonny Cumbie's another like air raid guy. How have the other guys done? It was
Cliff Kingsbury failed upwards.
Yeah, he
Look
failed
at him.
upwards. And then what's his name? Where'd he go after USC here?
He's at West Virginia now.
What's his name?
The OC. Oh man, the quarterback from Texas Tech.
I don't know. There's a million of these quarterbacks. That, Graham Harrell.
Graham Harrell. Yeah, he's at West Virginia now with Neil Brown.
Based on that alone, I expect a fireworks offense, but the team to kind of suck. So, as a head coach at Louisiana Tech, who's been a pretty good program, what B?
I'm giving it a B.
Yeah.
They'll make bowl games. I don't think they'll be elite.
Yeah,
but they'll make bowl games. What else do we have to talk about? Let's talk Mike McIntyre to Florida International. The airport went out and got one of my boys. Should have never got fired at Colorado. National Coach of the Year 2016. 2 years later, fired. What the fuck's going on in the world? This is an A. This is an A hire to me. Florida International's got what did Butch Davis say? They're using shoulder pads from Mississippi State 10 years ago, right? I think McIntyre's going to make it work. He did it at San Jose State, made them relevant. Give me an A. Patty C.
I mean,
it's hard to get a national coach of the year
at FIU. Yeah. How many years is he removed from that?
Like 2016, 5 football seasons ago.
He was the national coach of the year. That's pretty damn good for FIU. Yeah,
it comes from the Bill Parcells tree.
I do think based on his coaching chops, that's a damn good hire. I'll give it a B+.
No one's going A here.
Maybe A. Maybe I'll give it
Nick only gave out 1A. You're not going to give this one an A. You fucking
B+. I will say the turnaround at San Jose State was pretty miraculous. I mean,
the turnaround at Colorado, they were so bad when he walked in there.
If you let me finish, 1-12 the first year, 5-2 the second, 10-2 the third year. I mean, the Colorado, he had a 10-4 season there as well. My question here is maybe it's less about the coach and more about the program and the school. I mean, are they willing to invest in it? Because a coach can only do so much. If you're using used shoulder pads and if you got, the budget where you can't even jump on a private jet to go recruit, then he's not going to have
in Miami.
There.
Well, and
he's in Miami.
He was born in Miami. He's a Miami
He doesn't need to jump in a jet. He just goes down the road.
I guess, but I don't know. You need to have a decent facility. You need to have, you need to have the infrastructure around you to succeed. And my question here is probably less about McIntyre, more about FIU.
Okay, next up, Joe Moorhead. Well, will McIntyre be there in 5 years? I'm gonna say yes. Actually, he might get hired away. I'm gonna say no.
Yeah. 57 though. He's on his last legs for being a
Vanderbilt hires him. His dad coached there.
Yeah, he played there.
Yeah, Joe Moorhead, Akron.
Joe Moorhead, Akron. Oh, that's an A. That's an A.
It's a good hire.
How did you not give this one an A, Nick? You only gave one A, and you're telling me this isn't an A?
Dude, I'm not. I'm pretty strict with my grade here. I
gave it a B. We didn't have Nick as a teacher.
He's been a head coach at Fordham. Fordham is on the same level as Akron.
38-13 over 4 years, not too bad. He did a solid job at Mississippi State. Yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. It's a good hire.
He's not giving this one an A.
Talked me into a B+.
Oh, man.
What the fuck is
going on? I gave it a B+.
This is the kind of teacher that would be a nightmare. I used to try and teach talk my teachers into A's all the time. Nick would be the one that's B+ at most. Yeah.
Last but not least, Timmy Chang, Hawaii. The old slinger comes home. NC Nick's got a Timmy Chang jersey. Maybe he gives him an A.
Well, this is kind of like McIntyre, where it's like, it's less about the coach and more about the program. The fact that they did the runaround to what's his name?
June Jones.
Yeah, June Jones, friend of the program. Yeah,
right. I mean, come on. So I don't know that whole program seems to be just in shambles here. I don't know what the athletic director's doing. So I think it's a big step to hire Timmy Chang. I'm gonna give it a C. I don't see it working out well.
Yeah, I think it's a D. I mean, like I think it's great to have him home and coaching, and I'm actually really rooting for him.
Pass me one of those beers.
Yeah, the silver bullets. I think it's a D just because the guy's got no coach. He's never been a head coach. He's never really been an OC. I'm gonna give it a D.
See, you're saying I'm very strict on giving out my A's, but at least I give people passing grades. You're gonna skate by with me. Colby gives out A's and B's. You're the pass or fail.
What does Trump say? What does Trump say? You're fired. All right.
Colby D is the Ricky Bobby of if you're not first, you're last.
See, with me, just be average, skate by, you'll graduate, okay? You're not gonna be on any honor roll or anything, but you'll be moving on.
Here you go.
If I can change and you can change, everybody can change.
That's what Timmy Chang's saying.
All right. Timmy Chang needs
what do you
this
give that
program
one?
to change. I mean, I don't know what to expect at Hawaii. It's got to be better than Todd Graham.
He took him to a bowl game year 1. Year 2 is when the wheels fell off.
Fair enough. I feel like you have to take a flyer on Timmy Chang here. So I don't hate it, but do I think he's going to be very good? No. Really like a D+ higher.
Yeah, it screams Norm Chow all over it.
Based on the fact that it's Hawaii, though, I'm going to give it a C, maybe even a C+, because he's a legend there. And
he is a legend there. I do love that.
Yeah.
By the way, there's one more hire you forgot, Colby.
Did I miss one on here? Who?
Very good hire, too.
Who did I miss?
One Jeff Tedford at Fresno.
Oh, shit. How did I miss this? Oh, is it further down? That's why. Okay. Yeah, Jeff Tedford at Fresno. That's an A because he was just there and he was awesome there. And he had a little health scare.
Much like Jerry Kill, he's also 60 and with some health issues.
But these are his recruits he's playing with right now.
I gave it a B+, but it's a great hire. It just made so much sense.
And by the way, back to your Sonny Dykes thing. You want to see what a great coach does at the University of California? Sonny Dykes went 18-31, 82-57, including 2 10-win seasons. Get out of here. This guy's an A hire.
You know what? All right. There's your second A for me, okay?
Finally.
Bastards.
Finally. Patty C, what do you give this one?
I'm going to give it an A too.
Yeah, it's a great hire.
He's such a Bay Area guy. I mean, yeah, what he did at Cal, he is still a quarterback guru, and that's what Cal needs.
And he's got Jake Haener in year 1. They're going to be nasty this year. All right, folks, that concludes our coaching part, but I want to tell you that the college football experience is brought to you by Athletic Greens and their AG1 supplement. So what is this stuff? With one delicious scoop of AG1, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food sourced superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens. Did I pronounce that correct? To help you start with your day right, because that's big. Starting your day right, Patty sees half the battle. This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, and aging. All the things that really matter, it costs you less than $3 a day. You're investing in your health, and it's cheaper than your cold brew habit. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/SGP. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/SGP to take ownership over your health and pick the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. We're also brought to you by Trade Coffee. Trade Coffee connects customers to the freshest and best tasting coffee they've ever made at home by partnering with the country's best craft roasters. That's simple. These are independent businesses from big cities and small towns. Trade customers are truly impactful for these independent roasters, often being the largest source of new growth for them. Expert taste coffee. Trade Coffee's team actually taste tests thousands of coffee to keep 450 different kinds live and ready to ship to you every single day. I mean, that's incredible. Yeah. What do you do? I just taste coffee, right? There's no one perfect. I'm sorry. There's no one perfect coffee, but there's a perfect coffee for you, and Trade's human-powered algorithm will find it for you. All right. So right now, Trade is offering subscribers a total of $30 off your first order plus free shipping when you go to drinktrade.com/SGP. That's more than 40 cups of coffee for free. Whew. That's Starbucks. That's like $5 million right there for 40 cups. Get started by taking their quiz at drinktrade.com/SGP and let the trade find you a coffee that you'll love. That's drinktrade.com/SGP for $30 off. You got to love that. All right. You got to love it. Here we are, guys. It's time to draft. I know this thing is running. We're running here. It's time to draft week 0 and get ready for week 1, which we're going to do in a little bit here. We will draft week 0, the 13, was it? I think 13 games or 12 games. And then we will pick the over-unders on 5 SEC or 6 SEC West teams, or what is it? Seven SEC West teams. Yeah. And then we'll get the hell out of here. So NC Nick is on the clock with the first pick in the week 0 draft. Now, just to run through the games here, we got a couple FCS games, but we got 3 conference games. We got Conference USA, Charlotte, Florida Atlantic, North Texas, UTEP. We got Northwestern, Nebraska, Big 10 conference game. We got Wyoming at Illinois at a conference. We got Nevada at New Mexico State. We got Howard, Alabama State. We got Florida A&M, North Carolina, Duquesne, Florida State. What am I missing here? UConn, Utah State, Vandy, Hawaii, Stephen F. Austin, Jacksonville State. I know Patty C is excited for that. Austin P, Western Kentucky, Howard, Alabama. Morehead State and Mercer. And I think that's all of them. Nick,
and in case people didn't, maybe they didn't listen last year, we basically, when we say draft a game, it's basically the game we're looking forward to watching the most.
Yes. And we did this for 30 rounds. So obviously there's not 30 available for week 0. So our next episode, we're going to go through all of the week 1 matchups, the top 30 that we think are deserving. So with that, NC Nick is on the clock with the first pick.
Yeah.
That was loud.
That was loud.
With the first pick, Nick, what are you doing here?
You're just making sure I'm still awake over here on the East Coast, right?
Exactly.
I mean, we're glad that this week 0 has a lot more games, but there's really not any marquee games. And they gave me the first pick because they knew I had to take this pick. And if this was like any other week, it wouldn't be my top 30 because I usually this Big 10 West game I'm not the biggest fan of, but I want to go Northwestern versus Nebraska. I believe it's in Ireland.
Dublin. We were at a hotel a block from the stadium.
Yeah, and they had a rugby game that the town was just lit for. I wonder how it's going to be for NFL football. Probably not as crazy, but
for college football, buddy, not NFL football.
I'm sorry. Jeez, okay. But look, it's a Big 10 game. So obviously, there's importance. I mean, both teams lost 6 in a row to end the year. They both did last year. But Northwestern kind of has these ebbs and flows. And Nebraska, I mean, really, Scott Frost needs to get this season started on the right foot. Not like last year when they dropped the game to Illinois. So that's why it's my number 1 because it probably means it's more valuable. It means more than the other ones.
I agree. It was my number 1 rated game. I actually think it's a fun game though because Pat Fitzgerald's teams, if they have a losing season, traditionally they have a great year after that. Or at least a bowl eligible year. Year 1, he came in 4-8. Year 2, they made a bowl, or they were bowl eligible. I'm sorry. Then you look at he went 6-7. Well, they followed that up with a 10-3 season. Only once did he have 2 losing seasons in a row. After that, though, he went 10-3 again. Last time he went 3-9, he finished it. The following year, he went 7-2. That was the COVID year. They played for the championship game in the Big 10. So I do think that. And then Mark Whipple with Casey Thompson.
Up championship or terrible seasons with championship game appearances.
Yeah.
His team was young last year. I mean, they lost a lot to graduation the year before, so it kind of made sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think the real X factor is Mike Hankiewicz, their legendary DC, who retired 2 years ago. So last year was their first year without him, and that defense was dog shit. But they got Helinski back at quarterback. I think Helinski against Mark Whipple and Casey Thompson. I think it's a great game. Patty, what do you make of this one?
Well, I want to say this. A guy named Pat Fitzgerald cannot lose to a guy named Scott in Ireland.
I like it.
We know who the fan favorite's going to be. It's got to be Northwestern here. But it means a ton to Nebraska because if Scott Frost loses this one, I mean, the hot seat is already piping hot. They can't have a bad season, and this is a must win. So I'm interested. I'm genuinely interested, and it's kind of cool to see a game in Dublin there.
Yeah, definitely.
And I will say one other thing, though. Not only did both teams lose 6 in a row in the year, but this game was 56-7. Nebraska won last year.
I was there. I was at that game.
Oh, yeah.
In Lincoln,
yeah. That's true.
Me and the wife went to that one. That was an ass whooping.
I do expect it to be closer this go around.
All right, Patty C, pick 2. Pick 2, Patty C. Where you going? Week 0.
I'm throwing a curveball at you, and I am going to say Duquesne at Florida State.
I love it.
I am interested in watching this one because Florida State notoriously has had, over the past 5 seasons, trouble with the FCS opponent within the first 2 games of the year. Mike Norvell, again, cannot afford to have a rough start here. This could be the game that gets him fired either right off the bat or, halfway through the season. They'll be referring to this one. Even a close game against Duquesne is a bad look for Florida State. They're expecting major progress. And like you pointed out last year, Duquesne?
The Duquesne beat an FBS team last year, the Ohio Bobcats. All right.
Florida State doing themselves no favor scheduling these tough FCS teams.
I mean, they gotta wax them, right?
They should.
Nick, what do you make of Duquesne at Florida State?
Well, this was not my number 2, that's for sure. But Florida State has struggled against some of these FCS opponents, and Florida State has LSU week 1, so they got a little warm up game here. So I think people that's a reason to watch it, to see how Florida State looks. Who's going to start at quarterback? Is it going to be Jordan Travis? Is it going to be that
gotta be, right?
Freshman 4-star AJ Duffy? He's probably not ready for it. Probably Travis. But I mean, you kind of know what you're going to get with Travis. He's not a passer.
Will anyone be reading a book in this game? Maybe they'll be up by so much someone just opens up a book and starts reading.
I don't know, man.
But then again, it's Florida State.
I didn't come here to study. I come here to study. Studying sucks. It really sucks.
Duquesne went 7-3 last year, including the win over Ohio. But you had to think Florida State rolls, right?
Yeah,
I would think they got it.
That clue about studying sucks applies to a little segue I'm going to do here. Deion Sanders said studying sucks when he stopped going to class after he graduated, or after he finished playing football at FSU up until the draft. So they made a rule about eligibility based on Deion Sanders.
Oh, wow.
At FSU.
I'll cue in that.
So we get our kicks doing the Seminole.
There you go.
We are the Seminoles of Florida State. We know we're good.
He was part of this.
He was part of this.
That's right. And I'll say this. If Duquesne beats Florida State, I guarantee you Deion Sanders will be Florida State's coach the next year.
There's no way they're going to lose this game.
I guarantee you he will, though, if that happens.
Last year it happened the game after they played Notre Dame. They played Jacksonville State. And Jacksonville State beat them. But that's because it was a look-ahead.
Let-down city.
Yeah. This one, they're going to be focused all month. I think they destroyed Duquesne.
Which is why it shouldn't be number 2, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. It should not be.
It's fun to watch Florida State, sweat.
I'm going, I'm a Wyoming Cowboy fan. Actually, hold on.
There we go.
Wait, hang on. Pick Dundee on the clock here. I am taking the Wyoming Cowboys and Craig Bowl. Yes, they've always have quarterback problems. They run the quarterback a lot. He gets injured, but they did get Andrew Presley transferring in from Utah State. That's what's hilarious. Levi Williams, their starter, transferred to Utah State, where Utah State split. They had 2 different quarterbacks play. Well, they basically traded quarterbacks because Andrew Presley, the starter the guy at Utah State that got some reps, transferred to Wyoming. You figure it out. But I can tell you this: Bielma, Craig Bowl in Champaign, sign me up.
That sounds fun.
I think this could be an upset. I think it should be a good game because what Illinois did this offseason, folks. Unfortunately, Brandon Peters, Patty C's boy, he graduated. So they have Arthur Sitowski back, but they also went out and got Tommy DeVito from Syracuse.
Oh man!
So high value entertainment going on in Champaign. I can't wait to watch Wyoming, Illinois in the week 0 matchup. I had it rated as my second best game, but yeah. All right. NC Nick, you are on the clock.
I did have it rated as my second best game also. I mean, overall, Bielma went 5-7 his first year. Sure, a bowl game would have been nice, but I think you have to like the direction of the program. They won 2 out of 3 to end the year. But yeah, the quarterback situation, I mean, that's going to be a mess. I do like Chase Brown at running back. That kid's a beast. But if you look last year, like UTSA came into Champaign and won. So I think Wyoming is, they're thinking they could do the same thing. They went 7-6 last year. They did lose a bunch of guys. You mentioned the quarterback transferring out. They also lost Valaday, the running back, transferred to Arizona State. And Isaiah. Go ahead.
Don't you feel terrible for him? He transferred to Arizona State before all that shit went down.
Yeah.
Now Jaden Daniels is at LSU. He's like, damn it, I probably should have stayed at Wyoming.
Yeah,
But anyway.
but they have another really good running back, Swen, I think his name is. Who's good.
Yes.
But Isaiah Nayor, the best receiver, transferred to Texas. So Wyoming's down some pieces, but yeah, I think this is going to be a competitive, physical game. Two teams that play kind of the same style.
Yeah.
It's kind of a throwback style. So this one should be fun. It was my second as well.
All right, so you got pick 4 here, NC Nick. What are you doing here?
Well, all right. Well, how about I think the only game that pits two bowl teams from last year against each other, and that is North Texas at UTEP.
Oh, I like it.
Come on, this is a game here, man. I mean, North Texas won their last 5 regular season games to become bowl eligible, including beating UTSA. Not to mention them again. Quarterback Austin Oon is back. The running back, 1,200 yards last year, DeAndre Torrey is back. Seth Luttrell, in his 7th year, has this program rolling.
Another Leach disciple.
Yeah, and UTEP came out of nowhere, 7-6 last year, made a bowl for the first time since 2014. This is a ball game here. Come on now.
Conference game. You got to love that. That's got to
Gavin Hardison, the quarterback for UTEP, made big strides last year. He's a player.
They lost Jacob Cowing, the wide receiver, to Arizona.
Yeah, over 1,300 yards last year. Big loss.
Is Dana Dimmel, who is San Jose's coach?
Brent Brennan?
Is he Brent Brennan 2.0 here? Or are we about to see them 1-11, 1-11, 3-5, 7-6? Is there a huge jump coming here for Utah?
I tell you, I mean, it sounds like he's got this tide turning a little bit here, Patty C.
I think tide turning. As I remember, I was raised in the desert, but tides kind of it's easy to see a tide turn.
George W. understands this.
Did I say those words?
Texas as can be right here.
That's a great matchup. North Texas, UTEP, you gotta love it.
Denton
a fun
and El Paso,
game,
baby.
Yeah, very fun. The Sun Bowl,
state.
That's gonna be hot as shit, by the way, in August. I've been to El Paso to do stand up in August. Whew. This is going to be really hot. They probably should have played this game in December instead of August 27th or something.
Do you guys really think this will be a fun game?
Yes. Yeah.
You're going to really enjoy watching.
See, TMZ Pat has made his appearance. TMZ Pat has made his appearance.
Look, don't throw that shit
I would
on
much rather watch this than Duquesne, Florida State.
These are two programs that have absolutely zero history, right?
Me and Joe Green went to North Texas. It's got some history.
That was in 1972.
Hey, and Seth Luttrell's done a great job with this program. Ask UTSA about North Texas. They were about to have an undefeated season before the War Eagles, that is North Texas, came in there and they welcomed him to Denton and gave him an L.
Look,
other than Wyoming, these are the only 2 teams we mentioned so far that made a bowl game last year.
They're still boring. Look, a lot of shitty teams playing shitty conferences and make bowls.
You're crazy.
Well, that means the teams that don't make bowls are even shittier.
Okay. I will take Tennessee versus Arkansas. I don't know if Arkansas made a bowl last year. I think they were
really
great.
good last year.
Okay, give me another shitty team in the Power 5.
Arizona.
No, not that shitty.
What do you mean?
Give me 2 5-7 SEC teams over 2 7-5.
There's no such thing as 2 5-7 because they have 4 out of conference games and 3 of them.
How about Northwestern, Nebraska?
You put this over, yes.
Yes.
So I am more interested in that.
Well, we all are.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
but
thank
it's
you.
not a far step back, to have this game because it is interesting.
I mean, if you told me Arizona was taking on Duke, I would much rather watch North Texas UTEP than Arizona Duke.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, Duke.
Actually, you don't even have to do that. You could take bold teams in the ACC. If Boston College is playing Syracuse or Boston College is playing Virginia, I'd rather watch North Texas UTEP.
This is an inherently boring game, but because they're competitive, it might be fun. So
this is a UVA fan telling us this. Do you believe this?
I think it's a fun game. I mean, you have an in-state thing. I mean, Conference USA, 2 teams made bowls. I mean, what is there not to like?
2 good coaches.
Patty C, you're next on the clock. Prepare your ears because I'm playing this fucking clip.
Let's go right down the list here. We're gonna go a trip. You should cue me up some more music here because it's going to be a hard ticket to Hawaii for the Commodores of Vanderbilt.
Wait.
There you go. I mean, It will not be paradise for Vanderbilt.
And to go to the nope, not the Ching Complex Center, the Chang Complex Center to take on Timmy Chang and Hawaii.
There it is.
I mean, this one should be a fun one. The question is, who wins this fucking game? Last year, Vanderbilt lost to East Tennessee State by like 20 points.
Vanderbilt, who took over as coach? Clark Lee.
Yeah.
2-10 in
now
his
that was
first
year
season.
one last year, so maybe
they turn
maybe
around.
he
They
gets
get
a
this
pass.
stupid new logo. It's not going to help them out at all. Hawaii's got the better logo, and that's a long ass trip. We know how the SEC does when they come out west. We're going to go Hawaii with the win, and I'm going to love it.
Last time Alabama played at Hawaii, they took an L.
There it is.
Where was this on your list, Colby?
I had it as the fifth best game.
Yeah, because I still have one more we haven't mentioned.
Yes, and that is my pick here. But did you want to talk anything else about Vandy Hawaii, Nick?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see Timmy Chang and what he does there. And if you look at Hawaii, Chevin Cordiero, the quarterback, transferred to San Jose State. Day Hunter, the running back, transferred to Liberty. So you got a lot of new faces.
Cameron Cooper, I think his name is.
Cooper, from Wazoo. Maybe he'll be the starter at QB.
Yeah.
And then for Vandy, I mean, can they get better at year two? I mean, who's going to step up at quarterback? Is it going to be Ken Seals? Is it going to be Mike Wright? Doesn't matter. Seals. Are they still going to suck? Name. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not all about this game. I think it's going to be kind of a snooze fest.
Well, it is my pick, and I'm taking us to Boca Raton for.
There we go.
I think this is going to be two bowl teams perhaps this year. Charlotte and Will Healy, who beat Duke last year. They beat those Duke Blue Devils.
And I cashed my ticket on that Charlotte over 4.5.
By the skin. I swear that was on the chinny chin there. No, but this one's actually compelling me. It's a conference game. I think they're potentially two of the better teams on that side. Actually, yeah, that side of the CUSA. Well, I guess there's no more sides anymore. It's just 11 teams. But Charlotte, Florida Atlantic, I think both are decent programs. I wouldn't be surprised if both are bowling. I like this game. I think it's a highly entertaining game, and it should be a very fun one. Can't wait to play some DFS with this. Give me this one as a potential overtime game too. Sign me up. I think it's a great game. Patty C, your thoughts on Charlotte and Florida Atlantic?
I'm drawing a blank on the Charlotte. It's
Will Healy
or Willie Taggart.
Yeah,
Willie Bowl over here. Yeah, it's gonna be. Hey, that has a little ring to it. I am gonna go. Yeah, it's a good game. It's kind of interesting. Charlotte was a better team and has been a better team lately than we expect. We want to see if Willie Taggart can turn that ship around like he has before down in Florida. Yeah. So we'll see. All
right, NC Nick, you are back on the clock.
I do expect this to be a competitive game. But it was 38-9 last year. FAU beat Charlotte, but FAU lost the last 4 games. That it begs the question: how good of a coach is Willie Taggart? We'll see though. Chris Reynolds, fifth year quarterback at Charlotte. I think he's one of the best QBs in Conference USA. So fun game. All right, so I'm back on the clock, moving things along. How about?
Sorry, continue.
No problem. How about a little UConn at Utah State?
Oh, this is interesting. I would have went with one other over it, but I do like. Explain yourself.
I mean, Blake Anderson, great first year at Utah State, 11-3, Mountain West title, bowl game win over Oregon State. Logan Bonner, the quarterback, is back, as is Calvin Tyler, the running back. They're going to be good this year again. And then UConn, I mean, Jamore Jr. We were talking about. You guys gave pretty good grades. The 2 double-digit win seasons at UCLA. The quarterback, I think Jack Zergoidis transferred out, so I guess Stephen Krajewski.
No. They brought in, I mean, potentially. I'm not going to say you're flat out wrong, but they brought in a Penn State transfer, a 4-star.
That's right. Right. So on that alone, I mean, it's got blow-up potential, but I am interested to see what Jim Moore Jr. can do. Friend of the program at UConn.
Patty C, what do you make of UConn, Utah State? You excited for this one?
Well, Logan? I mean, you got an 11-3 team versus a team that's 2 years removed from a national championship. It's going to be a high-quality game here. There's teams. UConn has won a total of 3, 1, 2. So do the math for me. That's 9. 9 games in the last 5 years, and they're playing an 11-3 team. This team has won more games last year than they have the previous 5. They're traveling across the country for it. This is going to be an ass whipping.
Remember UConn Fresno State last year, week 0?
What was it?
UConn at Fresno State,
Oh,
week
yeah,
0.
it was a
Fresno State.
bloodbath.
Oh my god,
that was good for a quarter, or like half a quarter.
Yeah.
Then they opened it up on them.
All right, Patty C, you are back on the clock.
I'm going to skip down the list a little bit right here. Look, we have one of the most slept on, probably the most slept on coaches in college football. Starting over a team that is going to rise up to the FBS level, next year?
Yes.
In Jacksonville State.
They're joining the CUSA.
A traditionally pretty damn good program at the FCS level. And Rich Rodriguez was a hair away from a national championship. Remember, this guy coached at Michigan, the winningest program in college football history. Did he do great there? No. But he took Arizona, probably their best year in the last 20 years. So Rich Rodriguez is a damn good coach. He's taken over a pretty good program here. And I think this may be the start of like a pretty meteoric rise for Jacksonville State.
Well, I think what you like here is remember we did the FCS spring season. Zion Webb is back. Zion Webb was once at what I believe Clemson, was it? Getting him back, and then like you said, Rich Rod and his experience. He also has this NC State transfer coming in that I think could as a former 4-star in Aaron McLaughlin. I think this is going to be fun. I think Stephen F. Austin even is not terrible. They've had 2 winning seasons in a row, so sign me up for this one. I think it's being played in Alabama somewhere, neutral site. So
you know what another factor is here
that?
too? Rich Rodriguez isn't trying to start his son on this team, I don't believe. So I don't think Rodriguez transfer. Maybe I'm wrong about that. If so, then maybe you tamper your expectations a little bit. But when Rich Rodriguez can go find one of these track stars and put him at quarterback, it always turns out pretty damn good.
There you go.
Entertaining, at least.
Well, then it comes to me. Nick, what do you make of Stephen F. Austin, Jacksonville State?
There's probably at least 1 or 2 other games I'd pick before that. That game's probably not going to get too much burn now. Come on, let's be honest. 2 FCS schools. I enjoy the FCS, but there's other FBS schools going head to head here, so I don't know.
Week 0, we got nothing.
Yeah,
we are getting to the point where
this is better than last year. We have 12 games or 13 games. This is way better than last year.
Volume wise, yes, that's about it.
I like this next game. 2 new coaches. We just talked about this. What is it? Ken Wilson against Jerry Kill. Nevada at New Mexico State in Las Cruces. New Mexico State just had a great college basketball run. Hey, let's keep that momentum going. And with this hire, give me this is a fun game. I'm excited to watch this one. Nevada at New Mexico State. Sign me up for a lot of offense in this one. Nick, what do you make of this Nevada at New Mexico State game?
I do think it could be closer than expected. I mean, if you're just looking at like records from last year, well, a lot has changed since last year. No, if you look at Nevada, I mean, all the transfers that I mean, at least seven players followed Jay Norvell to Colorado State, and not to mention others that went other places. So I think it could be a closer than expected game, especially, at New Mexico State. So yeah, it's intriguing.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I think it's a good matchup. I had a higher ranked than UConn, Utah State, and definitely higher than Duquesne, Florida State, and Stephen F. Austin, Jacksonville State. But Patty C, your thoughts on Nevada at New Mexico State? Little Wolfpack Aggie with that sweet mustache. You know what I mean? The guy with the guns blazing.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Gotta love it. I'm going to say this. I don't know culturally what it's really like in that portion of the country, but in terms of pure desert states, I would think Nevada, Arizona, and New Mexico are the 3 pure desert states in the country. Maybe you throw Utah in there, but it doesn't have that reputation. There's a little desert pride here going down.
And you were raised in the desert, so it's easy to see a tide turn.
That's right.
All right, well, that puts NC Nick back on the clock. We got a couple games left. What do we got? 4 games.
All right. Well, how about a little Austin P at Western Kentucky?
This is fun because you got what? Bailey Zappi's gone.
As is Zach Kitley.
Well, yeah, that's another reason why Joey McGuire is great. He gets Zach Kitley at Texas Tech.
Right.
But what do you make?
And Mitchell Tinsley, the best receiver, transferred to Penn State.
That's what I'm saying. This is going to be a fun one. I think people are sleeping on these games here. Patty C's sleeping on this fun. And remember, remember that Austin Peay, Scotty Walden was the interim head coach at Southern Miss, and they were going to hire him as head coach, and he declined to go to Austin Peay. Whew.
Now, do you guys know who's going to be playing quarterback for the Hilltoppers?
It is Jared Deggy, the Jared Dogecoin, the West Virginia transfer, right?
Yes, that is interesting in of itself, because he was never able to just, air it out, be a gunslinger for WVU. Here's his chance. 6th-year quarterback, very experienced, over 85 career passing touchdowns. I want to see him in this, air it out offense to see how he does.
Yeah, and Colby, Scotty Walden. He's had 2 winning seasons in a row at Austin Peay. Maybe he can step it up. It's a good game. Don't sleep on these games, guys. College football, what makes college football so great, it isn't always those big matchups over TMZ Pat over here. It's some of these nice, awesome little games that you catch in the middle of the night that just back and forth. Great defense. All right, Patty, see, you're on the clock. You got 3 games left.
Oh, gosh.
Hold on, I got you.
I guess Florida A&M at North Carolina, just because we're going to see a team that I've watched in the past 5 years playing football. I don't know. Alabama State's got we'll get to that game. I guess that that wasn't my selection, so I won't talk about it. But yeah, North Carolina, we'll see if Mac Brown can recover from I guess relatively disappointing season last year. New quarterback, who's coming back?
No, they have 2 quarterbacks.
Sam Howell's gone.
Yeah, Sam Howell is gone. Yeah, so it's going to be one of these quarterbacks that we'll see in spring ball.
Jacoby Criswell or Drake, what's his name? May. The brother of Luke May, if you remember him from the basketball team that I think won the championship a few years ago.
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
He was a former 4-star that flipped from Bama to UNC.
That's a pull right there.
There you go. There you go.
Florida A&M, again, I'd have to double check. If I'm remembering correctly, they're pretty decent.
They are good. And you know who their head coach is? It's Willie Simmons, the former Clemson Tiger quarterback.
Man.
And watch out for quarterback Rashawn McKay. Threw for 2,500 yards, 22 touchdowns to just 5 interceptions last year.
And they've had 3 straight winning seasons. They were 9-3, made the FCS playoffs. Watch out.
Upset.
Watch out.
Upset.
Tar Heels.
Tar Heels go down.
Let's do it. All right. Well, then it hops on over to myself here. And I'm going to take Howard against Alabama State, neutral site game. And this is why it's fun here. Alabama State has Eddie Robinson Jr. They've had their best recruiting class ever this past year. They got Levante Chenault transferring in. Watch out for the talent level at Alabama State.
All right.
And also watch out for the talent level at Howard, the Bison, Jay Walker. Remember old Jay Walker? All right. Like what Larry Scott's the head coach. He used to be with Jeremy Pruitt down in I'm sorry, not Jeremy Pruitt. Butch Jones down at Tennessee. He's had 2 losing seasons. Maybe the year 3 is the year for the Bison, but I got Alabama State winning this one. And that leaves us with Morehead State Mercer, right?
I just saw here.
What's that?
On Howard's schedule later in the season, Harvard. Give me an HBCU versus Ivy League challenge. How fucking fun would that be?
Beat those preppy asses into the dirt.
That's right.
I do love that. And then the last game on the slate is Morehead State at Mercer. But hey, I mean, both these teams were solid a year ago, so I think we could have a nice little FCS matchup.
Mercer went 7-3, and they lost to Alabama, one of those losses, and they also lost to East Tennessee State, who beat Vanderbilt. So they're basically SEC caliber. So throw out those 2 losses, and they're 7-1. Yeah,
and they play their annual game against Alabama, and that rivalry is continuing to look very good. No, Morehead State Mercer should be fun. I don't think it should have been the last. I didn't have it as the last ranked game, believe it or not. So, all right. before we get out of here, we got one more segment to do. I want to tell you that the college football experience is brought to you by PropSwap, America's marketplace to buy and sell sports bets. Use the promo code SGP on your first deposit to receive up to $500 in bonus cash. Head over to PropSwap.com or download the PropSwap app. We're also brought to you by Stable Duel. Stable Duel is a horse racing DFS app where you can play free and paid games for real cash prizes. You can win as much as $40,000 with one entry. Head over to StableDuel.com to get started today. All right, folks, this is it. The SEC West win totals. All right. They just dropped at WinBet. Shout out to WinBet, our sponsors. We got to get to this. We got to just quickly get to this. All right. Let's start. Let's go alphabetically here. Alabama, minus 11.5 wins, guys. So will Alabama lose a game is the question. Nick?
Yes.
I'm going to say, I'm of the opinion that the schedule, they played back-to-back away games for the first time in like 10 years last year. And they lost in a game at Texas A&M with their backup quarterback. Now, yes, A&M was breaking in Bryce Young, and they had some injuries. I'm sorry, Alabama was breaking in Bryce Young and had some injuries, but they still lost that game. They almost lost at Auburn. They have too many away. First off, and they're not playing a neutral site game that's in like Atlanta, which is practically a home game for Bama. They have at Texas, at Arkansas, at Tennessee, and then back-to-back away at LSU, at Ole Miss. I'm on the under. I think they lose one.
There's an L in there.
Nick?
That's a gauntlet, man. They didn't go undefeated last year. Screw it. I'll say they go undefeated. Give me the over.
Ooh.
No way.
Ooh.
This is one of Alabama's hardest schedules that I've seen in a while.
It's also, they have a very experienced team coming back here. I mean, we knew they were going to slip up at least once or twice last year. This year, they should be loaded.
Patty C, you're on the under?
They are bringing the Heisman hero back here. That's true. Could there be a little slump? I'm on the under. I think there's a loss somewhere in there. I think Arkansas is better. They have to go there. Then the following week, A&M. Then at Tennessee, Mississippi State coming up. Get a little bye week before a back-to-back road. And then there's always Auburn. And then even before Texas, there's Utah State. Just enough. They're going to be catching some body blows throughout this season. And there's a loss somewhere in there, I think.
Don't forget, Utah State has a little warm-up week 0.
Oh, you calling for that upset there, buddy?
No, I'm not.
Just enough to wear them down a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Next up, we got the Arkansas Razorbacks. 6.5 is the win total. I'm on the over. I think Pulled Pork Pittman's winning me over here. You look at the schedule. Okay, they get Cincinnati out the gate. Patty C's probably going to call for an upset. I'm not. I think they're going to take care of Cincinnati. They're going to take care of South Carolina. Then they get Road Rash face in, I think, the most anticipated game of the season. He comes back to the scene of the crime, and we get I'm talking about Bobby Petrino back in Fayetteville on Saturday, September 17th against Missouri State. Buckle up, fellas. I think they yes, and at BYU's their other out-of-conference game.
Dude, that's a tough-ass non-conference
and
game.
Liberty. No, they're going to win those.
Cincinnati, BYU, and Liberty.
And Missouri State, FCS playoff team.
That's a ball-buster schedule.
They're going to lose at BYU. They'll beat Liberty. They'll beat Cincinnati. They'll beat Missouri State. Pulled Pork Pittman kept Kendall Briles. He kept Barry Odom. Watch out for Arkansas. I'm on the over. Nick?
Well, they won 8 games a season ago. Looking at the wins here, I think they can get off to a good start and go 3-0 at least. Can they split A&M Bama? I don't know. That might be 3-2, and then maybe then 3 straight road games. Granted, there's a bye week in between there, but at Mississippi State, at BYU, at Auburn, they did it last year. And we were dead wrong last year because I think that over-under was 5.5, and we were all looking at the schedule saying under. Sometimes it's better to look at the coach, look at the team, rather than look at the schedule. I'm with you. Give me the over.
Let me say this. Hard under.
Really?
Hard under.
They're one of only 8 teams, I think, that return their offense and defensive coordinator, and they bring back
quarterback
KJ Jefferson. Yeah.
Look, Cincinnati has been one of the best teams in college football for the past several years.
No, they weren't.
You are out of your mind. They beat
last
Notre
year.
Dame.
They weren't very good.
You're ridiculous. Okay?
I'm joking.
They
were not
They were not as good as they had been the previous year. Sure.
Yes, agreed.
But you
South
don't
Carolina-
expect a new quarterback to come in there.
They lose Sauce Gardner too.
They lose a lot,
Yeah.
but they've been recruiting better, and he's developing talent. It's fickle.
Week 1 going into Fayetteville, I don't know. That's a bad. That's a bad.
Give me the
spot
pulled
for a new
pork Pittman
quarterback.
all day.
Arkansas has been like a relatively shitty team up until last year.
No,
They had
the
a
year
good.
before they were all right.
Okay, I guess.
Right.
I'd
But
have to
ever since Pittman's been there, he's done all right.
Yeah. Okay. South Carolina just got. That's not a gimme game. They just got freaking what's his name transferred
They'll
in.
beat South Carolina.
A&M, Alabama.
They beat A&M last year.
At Mississippi State, at BYU. There's just too much meat on this.
You're on the
schedule.
under. Wow.
It's a
I'm on
meaty
there.
schedule.
All right, Auburn over 5, over under at 5. Man, the question is, will Brian Harsin be coaching by? Well, they don't play an away game until October 8th. They only have 4 away games. Classic SEC move there. Dude, they could beat Penn State in Auburn.
They probably should.
I think I'd
Harsin-
favor Penn State, but
Yeah.
not by much.
5.
Yeah,
Slam the over.
I'm on the over.
Yeah.
Nick,
You got
5
to. I
and-
mean,
yeah.
I think Arkansas is the better team. I wish Arkansas had this schedule because then it'd be slam dunk. But yeah, I think especially with the first 5 games at home, I think at worst they're 3-2 there, and then
They still have Western Kentucky.
Kentucky is
Yeah.
4-2, and then I mean they could some of these other games. Granted, at Alabama, at Georgia, that's tough, man.
Mercer.
tough.
That is a tough stretch.
They both were in the national championship last year.
Those aren't back to back.
Yeah.
Georgia.
No. But
Ole Miss
still,
is
just
back-to-back.
on the schedule at Georgia, at Bama in the same year. That's rough.
It's tough, but this is Auburn. Played at least Bama pretty close last year, but they're going to lose both of those games most likely. Yes, but Mercer, San Jose State, and Western Kentucky at home are 3 of your 4 non-conference games. Right there, you're up to 3. All you got to do is pull 2 to cover.
Yeah, and I think they will. I'm
Yeah.
with you.
Hold on, what's it at?
5.
No, so pull 2 to push.
Or
Yeah.
pull 2 to
But-
push.
But that's a safe. That's your safety valve. And we're okay with the push. Obviously, you want to win, but
Yeah.
Okay, next we have LSU at 6. This is my lock, folks. I am locking this over. I am all over this over. Jaden Daniels transfers in. I know LSU lost a bunch of starters, but it's LSU. All right. 6. Look at this schedule. First off, only 4 away games. All right. Only 4 away games. Once again, classic move. And then Florida State Southern to open up the season. Your other non-conference games, New Mexico, and then UAB. All in Baton Rouge or New Orleans, they're going to be 4-0 out of conference. So all you need is 2 more wins.
They'll be 5-1 out the gates.
Yeah.
Wasn't this the one with some crazy juice on the over though?
This was with LSU. It is minus 125 on the over.
Oh, geez. Well, it's similar to Auburn, where I think they at least get to 6-6. So there's no way you go under here. I mean, I think they're going to beat Florida State. Even without that, the easy base of wins, Southern, New Mexico, and UAB gets you 3 already.
Yeah, and they're going to be
so
4.
so you tell me they just need to go 3-6 in the other 9 games, and you push. You got to go over. Got to go. I hate it. I've gone over every one so far. This is crazy.
Not me, buddy. Next up, we got Mississippi.
This is like you last year.
Mississippi State 6.5. They have 2 sets of back-to-back away games. That's brutal. Their out-of-conference schedule is Memphis, Arizona, Bowling Green, and East Tennessee State. I'm over. I think he's going to go 7-5 at least. I think you got to remember his team's trajectory. Normally, year 3 and 4 is when they turn that tide, and I think they get revenge on Memphis after losing to them last year in Starkville. I think they beat Arizona. I think that LSU game is kind of a toss-up. I think they beat Bowling Green. That's 3 wins. They beat A&M in College Station last year. I like their chances in Starkville. And then they still have Auburn in Starkville. They have East Tennessee State in Starkville. I know they draw Georgia from the East, but I think they're at least going to be 7-5. I know it Leach is our boy, but Patty,
6.5 is the number.
Yeah.
I'm going under.
Wow.
I mean, Yes, Bowling Green, but going to Arizona is a little tricky. Memphis is a decent team.
He hit the over last year.
He's a great coach.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't feel confident about this. He could win 8. It's a tough schedule, but I mean, getting Kentucky on the road, a game that you're in your cross division should be a win, but you get it on the road against a tough team. It's just a few too many things where I wouldn't feel confident in it.
Nick?
No, they lose out playing Georgia and Kentucky from the East, and with the Kentucky game on the road. Still a winnable game, but I tend to agree with Colby. Like, I hate to say it, I'm on the over again. Like, look, people don't. I know I went over every time, so don't come at me yet. It's freaking April. We're just seeing this stuff. But I gotta go over again. Sorry.
All right. Ole Miss 8. I'm on the under, folks, and I'm gonna explain why. Because this win total's at 8. They lose Jeff Lebby.
Yeah,
and they're bringing in Jackson Dart, who's not an athletic. I mean, he's a solid quarterback.
He's an athlete,
but he's not. They're not going to be running like they were with Corral.
They might be.
You think so?
I think he's an athlete.
I don't think he's going to be running like that.
Corral is a great athlete, but
but I will say this: the schedule is pretty soft. They draw Vanderbilt from the East, and they have Georgia Tech, who's pretty much like Vanderbilt of the ACC, and they get Central Arkansas, Troy, and who's the other one? Tulsa. So 8. I do think I had them going 8-4, but if I had to lean one way, losing how many players they lost, I lean under. I think they're looking at 7-5, or like I said, I had them at 8-4, but so I can't just say that. I think there's a better chance they'll be 7-5 than 9-3.
Here's the thing: they're going to be 6-0.
They could. The Kentucky game's a question mark, but they could be 6-0. But I'm still going under. Damn it! I need an under, and the schedule's backloaded, so I'll go under.
It's tough too. I think they might even be 7-0 with getting Auburn at home the following week. But
yeah, you're right.
Where's the 2 more wins after that? Though?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really tough back end of the season. So I do think they're looking at probably 5 losses. I wouldn't touch it. I think Vegas got it right on the nose, but I would take under if I had to.
All right, and then you got the Texas A&M Aggies at 9. This team goes 8-4 every year. I mean, guys, I'm not taking this. I'm all over the under. I think it's. We haven't seen a ton of the over and unders yet, but I have a high. This is probably going to be a lock of mine.
Wasn't Max Johnson on your lawn chair list?
Yes, Max Johnson. They
Numbers 9.
Yeah.
So they have to win 10.
And they got to win at Alabama. They're going to lose at Alabama. That's a revenge spot. You know, Saban's got that circled.
Yeah, under.
Right?
Under all day.
I mean, they play Sam Houston State, who's actually decent in the FCS.
Wow.
I mean, this team barely beat fucking Colorado last year. They won 10-7, right?
Under all day.
App State's a tough game. Miami, maybe Cristobal magic happens. All right, maybe Sam Pulled Pork Pittman beat him in Arlington last year.
Yeah, they did take some losses that an elite team should not take last year.
Now, the UMass game on November 19th is dangerous.
Don Brown's doing big things.
I'm on the under. Patty, see what are you doing?
9 is the number?
Yeah.
I mean, I think A&M's reputation is that, they had
Mike Elko's gone too.
Yeah, that's a huge piece there. The number 1 recruiting class in the country this past year. A little too early for that to pay huge dividends. So
questions at the quarterback spot.
Well, they got 2 because they got Johnson, who's decent.
Well, they got 2. Every team has 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah, if you got 2, you got none. Who's the guy that started for him last year?
Well, no, Calzada transferred. He transferred to Auburn.
Okay,
but their original starter, and I'm drawing a blank on the name.
King, was it? Somebody.
Haynes King. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess that's enough. I wouldn't touch this one either. I think they're coming up as a program a little bit. 9 is doable, but I guess I would have to lean under.
I like the under.
I'll touch it.
I'm all over the under.
They're not winning 10.
Yeah, no way.
Well, I mean, they got a couple 50-50 games at home. So, sure. I feel or maybe am I looking at
I mean, they lost to Mississippi State last year in College Station. So in Starkville, what makes you think that they're just going to win that game? No, it wouldn't shock me if they won it.
I mean, Ole Miss at home, Florida at home, LSU at home.
But the fact is they're drawing Florida.
Miami at home. Yeah, it's true. Good point. I guess I don't know. I'm not touching it, but I'm leaning under with you.
I think there's a good chance that's a lock of mine.
I think that stretch of 3 straight road games with the bye in between, but Mississippi State, Alabama, South Carolina, if they can win 2 of those, then under bettors might get a little nervous.
Oh, you know what? I'm looking at this. I'm going opposite you guys almost every time here. I think I'm leaning over. I think there's enough here for me to lean over.
Okay.
You're not at all concerned that Mike Elko is gone and the quarterback play was horrible last year?
I am, but they were pretty darn good 2 years ago. Is Spiller coming back this year?
No,
he's gone.
Yeah.
Ooh,
it's okay. They got other running backs, man.
That's true.
I mean,
Arcane is, I think his name is.
Yeah. I'm on the under. I think it's one of the better plays. Thanks for listening to the College Football Experience, first YouTube show, by the way. Subscribe to the College Football Experience. Remember to subscribe to the College Basketball Experience. We talk both year-round here. And also subscribe to the USFL Gambling Podcast because that season's kicking this week, and we got you covered. Get the SGPN app. It's free to download in the App Store and Google Play Store. Also, give us a follow on Twitter at TCE on SGPN. Also, our solo Twitter feeds, NC Nick's on Twitter at NC_NICK. Patty C's on Twitter, Patty C831. And myself, I'm on Twitter at TheColbyD. Give us all a follow. And, enjoy. The season's just getting started. Look at that LeBron chalk in the air. This is the College Football Experience. Week 0 preview picks. All this shit. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.